Happy Lord's Day, everyone. God bless you all. Today, you got a bunch of 300-pound black dudes chasing each other around in tights. We got the atheist community, whatever that means. I feel like they're in a panic, honestly. I feel like these people are panicking. And I know why they're panicking, but I don't know if they know. They're coming out of the woodworks. I don't know what it is. Is it they're defending their dogma? Is it that what if evolution's not true? Is it what if Christians take over the country and the world? Indeed, truly. Thank you, Justin. It's wild. And they're coming out and they're so unreasonable. I want to show you something. This dude, Lucas Cage, interacting with online, he was asking me, well, what does function have to do with purpose? Well, they're tied together. You know, I clipped a fantastic clip there of douchebag Dave and his, exquisite epistemology, I'm right. I thought people should see that, and Lucas comes in going, well, I don't understand. Why if your brain has no purpose, why does that have to do with anything? Well, dude, if your brain doesn't have the purpose of thinking, then you can't tell me whether or not you're properly thinking. Think about it. If it's possible to improperly think, that is to say, there's a proper way to think and an improper way to think, then the proper way to think means you're operating a certain way. There's a certain operation that meets purpose, that it's meeting the purpose. Otherwise, what the hell are we talking about when we say something's malfunctioned? Even if you say something has function like the brain and you say, well, it's functioning. Is it possible to malfunction? Yeah, well, it's definitely possible to malfunction. Well, that means that it has a purpose to function. The way it functions is its purpose. You can't separate it. And they want to, right? They want both, but they can't do it. They can't deny purpose and also accept that there's some function and dysfunction. They can't do it. Anyway, so the coping is massive. But Jay was talking about this sort of, true Dunning-Kruger. And he's talking about it. He didn't even know this dude was going to call in. And this guy calls in to his stream. I think he's still running the stream, but he had a call in. This guy, Lucas Cage, who's like evolution proponent. He's sort of like a black pillar, red pillar-ish. He's not Christian, but he's anti-liberal. He wants law and order. He's a part of this sort of pseudo right-wing alliance that wants something reestablished, but he doesn't know what it is. And he came in real hot with Jay, calling him a science denier. Really not a good showing because these people are reacting. And that's how you know they're in defense. It's like a dog in a corner. They're reactionary. They're not thinking properly, coincidentally. So, we'll talk about, I should have stayed on. I should have kept the StreamYard up yesterday after I left the talk because I'm sure there was a cope. But we're going to look at that. We're going to look at the moment I pressed Dave on his claim that his brain has no purpose in thinking. And then I'm going to hang up and I'm going to see what it is they said. I didn't see it at all, by the way. So we're going to look at that. But I first want to look at this I want to see what this guy had to say to Dyer here. Okay, so listen in.
Logical fallacies and contradictions and flaws. He gets angry, basically almost rage quits the debate. Almost booted me before I said, all right, fine, let's I'll chill out. So he was about to boot me from the debate. But my point is that we get that with these people, right? People that are, a lot of these scientism bros, a lot of people coming out of like, one discipline. They did their grad work in one discipline, and they think that they're like, literally, I've seen this so many times. They think that they're experts in every arena. And the same thing happens, ironically, with MMA bros, right? We've had several people who come out of the MMA sphere. They get really hyped up into talking shit about everything and everybody else, and then they think that because they did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that they're like somehow master debaters.
Right.
More like just master debaters. Yeah, good one, dude. I've heard that joke a zillion times. Jay's not a master debater. He's a master debater.
Is that true?
Who wants to? Here, Lucas is here. He's going
All right, listen to this. Listen to this.
We're a science denier. Uh-oh. Science denier. What's up, Lucas? You want to unmute? Lucas, you want to unmute?
Sorry, it's that low IQ of mine. I muted myself. It's that Reddit tier IQ. Yeah, you summoned me for some reason. What's going on?
Well, you saw.
See, already starting off wrong. No, he called out Jay. He reposted Gnostic Informant, his post, right? And Lucas is like, oh, I'm celebratory of this. We got to fight anti-science people. Listen to this.
Summoned me because you said that you're glad that I was exposed as a sued. So how am I sued?
No, I posted that video because it was Professor Dave, which is a left-wing shitlib, as everyone knows. And then MythVision, who I don't talk to, I don't know who he is. And then
it's not.
What's his name? Neil. So I just like I don't like the science denial. So I know that you guys.
Where did I deny science?
What's that?
Where did I deny science?
Well, I mean, you think evolution's fake and gay.
Dude, are we serious here? I mean, talk about libtard thinking. If you deny evolution, the story of tiny worms then mutating over time, Marvel style, into thinking, breathing humans who do philosophy, right? Accidentally, by the way, by chance, producing organisms that figure out how to fly planes. Because we don't believe that, we're science deniers.
Aren't you also a young Earth creationist?
So hold on. So evolutionary theory is the same thing as science?
I'm saying that you don't agree with evolutionary biology, right?
I don't
What?
agree with macroevolution. No.
But if you understand that what microevolution is over time is what...
Over time? He did the over time meme. And these are, Lucas, God bless him, he's a guy who wants to reorganize, accelerationist kind of view of like format society, right? Like a great change, right? That needs to be done. These are the guys leading the charge, right? The great change needs to be done, right? Over time, okay. These are our thinkers. These are the leaders.
What you call macro
conceiving of the new world with enough time, really?
evolution. That's what you guys have to understand. The second you
No, I do understand that, but how do you prove that? That's an assertion. Where's the proof of that?
We have speciations. I'm not an expert in evolution, so I can't tell you every single species. I know there's a ring species in California of salamanders.
There's a ring species of salamanders.
There's things like
Jay's giggling. There's a salamander in California.
There's bacteria that evolves. We see it all the time.
We see it all the time.
We see it all the time.
Have you observed that?
What epistemic system is that? I want to try that on. I need that for a week.
Because science is an empirical.
Have you observed your great-great-great-grandmother?
Exactly. It's an empirical domain. So if you haven't observed it, then how do we know that that's actually the case?
Because listen, you could look when you see. Here's the thing about science. It makes a prediction, then we confirm the prediction. So if they even
no, that's not science, dude. I wish Jay, he's strapped with this, but it maybe doesn't occur to him because he's thinking of maybe a deeper, more dense philosophical angle. But when these people start talking about science, all you have to do firstly is go, what's the scientific method? You just ask someone like Lucas that, what's the scientific method when he starts doing this stuff? What is the scientific method? He just said, well, you look at stuff and then you predict stuff.
Even when you go back in time and see fossils,
I mean, just listen to the words coming out of his mouth. Listen to this.
Speciations. I'm not an expert in evolution, so I can't tell you every single species. I know there's this ring. There's a ring species in California of salamanders. There's things like that. There's bacteria that evolves. We see it all.
There's bacteria that evolves into bacteria. There's salamanders that produce salamanders. There's people who produce people. It's crazy out there. It's getting crazy out there. There's dogs that make dogs.
All the time.
We see it all the time. Have you observed that? Because science is an empirical.
Have you observed your great-great-great-grandmother?
Exactly. It's an empirical domain. So if you haven't observed it, then how do we know that that's actually the case?
Because listen, you could look when you see. Here's the thing about science.
Here's the thing about science. Okay, let's do the. See, I have this view of what you really want to do is transcribe. That's the ideal. You transcribe. So imagine we're all transcribing. Imagine we're all stenographers right now. Listen to this.
It makes a prediction.
The thing about science is it makes a prediction. And that's not even true. It starts with an observation. The thing about science is it makes a prediction.
Then we confirm the prediction.
And then we confirm the prediction. And that's the thing about science that's why we love science out here in these streets. Look, the thing about science, I don't know if you guys took science, is that we make a prediction and then we confirm the prediction, and then that's it. That's all we got.
So even when you go back in time and see fossils, if this is true, if evolution is true, we should have transitional fossils. There's millions.
Like gambling, yeah.
Of them.
Millions of them. There's millions of them. Millions of what, Lucas?
What?
That's the thing. It makes a prediction.
Okay, hold on. Where is this evidence? You're making all these assertions, and I'm asking.
No, I'm not. There's fossils.
No, I'm not. There's fossils. There's millions of fossils. Yeah. Fossil is a thing that happens. That's right. A fossil is a thing that happens. You can replicate a fossil. You could put a chicken wing into a jar, a mason jar, fill it with dirt, remove all of the oxygen. And in just I don't even know if it's a week, under a week, I think, you will get a fossilized chicken wing. Legit. Hit it with a fork. Makes a sound. So, yeah, we understand. Fossils exist.
You deny the fossil record?
Do you deny? He literally did the meme. Dude. He literally did the meme. Do you deny the fossil record? That's not even a proposition.
Well, I've not seen a fossil that shows the millions of transitions that you're talking about. Where is it?
You're not going to see millions of transitions.
You just said we do see that. Now you're saying we don't.
No, we have. I don't know exactly how many fossils exist. I know we have tons of them.
There we go. That's the science we're looking for. I don't know what. I don't know where, but I know we have tons of them. We definitely have tons of whatever the thing is that they said that I have. That they said that. Wait. They said that we have fossils, and there's a lot of them and a ton of them. So you deny what they said? Wait, Jay, do you deny?
Exactly.
But how does the fossil tell you that it's the transition? How does the fossil itself tell you that? Isn't that an interpretation?
Because here's the thing. Every time they have a fossil, you guys want another fossil.
Every time they have a fossil, you guys want another fossil. No. Listen, Lucas, buddy. A fossil is not a transitional event. A fossil is an item that's subject to an event. That's it. The fossil doesn't do anything.
In between those two.
How are you doing this? What are you watching football? What are you doing? What are you football? What do you make football calls? What do you have a headset on? What do you have? What do you have, a big bowl with salsa and guacamole and Cheetos?
Two fossils, and there's another.
Yeah, but that's begging the question. How do you know that specific fossil is part of the transition? That's the thing in question.
because you could see the transition go over time.
You could see the transition. Oh my! I feel like we're in a Dr. Seuss book. Because you can see the transition over time.
You don't see transition. That's an interpretation. That's the thing I'm asking you about empiricism. You're an empiricist, and you're saying, I see transitions. No, you don't. You see present-day fossils that you're saying are transitions.
Here's the thing. Here's the problem here. So you're saying that I'm an empiricist, and that's all I care about is there's different kinds of beliefs, Jason. You know, there's intrinsic.
This is a funny troll calling him Jason over and over again. Now, we all know Jay doesn't like, even if you say the name he prefers, which is Jay, he doesn't like it if you keep saying Jay. So, I mean, you got to give it to Lucas. This is a pretty, if you're going to try to upset Jay because you're doing really bad at defending your stupid evolution beliefs, this is definitely a good tactic, I would say. But Jay handles it well, but he keeps doing it.
And there's extrinsic beliefs. Right, there's mathematics, there's analytics. All unmarried men are bachelors.
What does that have to do with this? What does that have to do with empiricism?
Because the thing is, when it comes to epistemology,
when it comes to epistemology, listen. When it comes to epistemology, you gotta look. This guy sounds like a New Jersey mechanic that like took too long of a lunch at the pizza place and he got into it.
Under the justified true belief model.
Yes.
Okay, then that's just garbage. I'll tell you why, because you can never.
He just moved out of fossils, and now watch. He just said.
So you're saying that I'm an empiricist, and that's all I care about is there's different kinds of beliefs, Jason. You know, there's intrinsic and there's extrinsic beliefs, right? There's mathematics, there's analytics. All unmarried men are bachelors.
What does that have to do with this? What does that have to do with empiricism?
Because the thing is, when it comes to epistemology, are you operating under the justified true belief model?
Yes.
Okay, then that's just garbage.
This is really special, this part. This is a part that had me giggling.
I'll tell you why, because you can never obtain that. It's unattainable. We're not omniscient beings. And I even wrote a paper on it.
I'm going to start doing that. Anyone else writing papers in the chat? Anybody? I got to get on this. I got to start writing a paper.
Oh, wow, you wrote a paper.
You can't do it.
Wow.
The Gettier problem. You know what the Gettier problem is?
Yeah, that at time T, you also have to have an extra qualification.
Sure. So here's the thing.
Why do you keep interrupting me when you're just yapping at me? Because you're saying that you know that there's no justified true belief. So if there's no
we cannot obtain.
How do you know that we can't obtain that?
Okay, just so you know, this guy doesn't understand, just in simple form. When he says a justified true belief, right? It's a set of criteria to hold a belief that's true, right? And so he's saying you can't have that. And Jay is saying to say you can't have that is holding to that, right? You have to have a good reason to say no one could have justified true beliefs. That's what he's saying. And he doesn't understand that he's in a contradiction this entire time. And he leaves. He ends up, the end of the conversation occurs and he still doesn't know he's in a contradiction.
Hold on, how do you know?
Who's a gentleman? A guy named Lucas Cage, who's sort of like this dissonant, I guess right wing in a sense, but he holds to all of the dogma of left wing scientism and all this stuff. I'm not even sure where he stands.
Know that.
We cannot.
How do you know that? You just keep asserting it.
We are not able to. We're not.
How do you know that? Those are great assertions. Cool. What's the proof of that?
Can you show me a justified true belief that you know?
Yeah, sure. To deny JTB and the Gettier problem results in the impossibility of true knowledge. So there you go. That's a transcendental argument.
There you go. You can't. To deny it is to affirm it.
What?
It's like that old. I don't even know which philosopher it was. Tried to, take the 3 classical laws of logic and say, well, can't we just not have the excluded middle? And the other philosopher was like, you're using it. To argue that, you're using it.
What? So I'm giving you basic argumentation.
I'm right.
You're using a logical claim to make the justified true belief, the T and justified.
You don't think that? Okay, so when you argue against justified true belief, you don't think you're using logic?
Yeah, but logic is a system we know the boundaries of. We're not talking about.
Well, you just said we don't have justified true belief, so how do we know the boundaries of it? You don't know that.
He's all over the
I
place.
want to know what is your epistemology?
Language. We're talking about language here.
Language?
We know
Yeah, but you just keep shifting. So
a lot of you guys do. You'll say, "Is that a true thing?" Well, that's true, isn't it? That's what. No, we're talking about absolute truths of reality. We don't know the absolute truth of reality.
Okay, is that
We don't know the absolute truth of reality. He's making a claim that goes against his first claim that we can't have justified true belief.
an absolute statement? Is that an absolute statement?
Yeah, but that's a statement that's not about absolute truth.
Yes, it is. It's a universal claim. You just refuted yourself.
No, because it's not the same. It's language.
You're saying it's not the same. It's a universal claim. You're saying for all states of affairs, no one has universal knowledge.
If we don't exist, is that still true? No.
What does that have to
If we don't exist,
do
is
with
that
you
still
just
true?
contradicting yourself? You made a universal claim.
What does it mean to be universal at all times, all places, and all? If we don't exist,
And you said that that's not possible. That's a universal claim.
no. Listen, we're talking about we're talking about language. When we have
No, you made an existential claim. It's not just language. You made an existential claim about everybody having no universal knowledge or absolute certitude in any state of affairs. That's a metaphysical and an epistemic claim that you just made.
Just language.
As human beings, because we're finite creatures, you will argue God has that. That's why you're operating under justified true belief, and only to have that's with God.
Yeah, but you're operating on that system too. You just deny it, and that's what I just showed you.
I'm not. What are you saying?
You're using the same principles.
Lucas had a conversation with Arvel trying to explain his epistemological theory that no one had thought of before. Yeah. That'll be funny to watch.
And justification, and then turning around and saying, but I don't have to justify it even though it's a universal claim. You said no one can have that level of knowledge and certitude. No one is a universal quantifier. That's a contradiction.
And I could state that in language.
You see his statement, the guy talking? Do you guys see this statement right here?
So your language doesn't apply to reality?
You see this? He writes, this is in reference to evolution. He says, why does it need a purpose to function and help humans survive and replicate? Replicate is a function. And if you don't have a function that has a purpose, right? Replication, procreation. It means that the function of replication, Lucas Gage, has to be purposeful. Because if you say there's a dysfunction, oh, I have a dysfunctional system, right? That doesn't allow me to reproduce or something like this. To say there's a dysfunction is to say that things properly function, that there's a proper function. And if to say there's a proper function means there's a purpose. So those two go hand in hand. You can't be like, oh, we have function without purpose. No, you can't. You can't have function without purpose. Not even talking about higher purpose, theosis, the true meaning of life purpose. I'm saying even at the local level, he's basically asking, why does my brain need any purpose in order to gain the function of thinking? Well, because to know whether or not you're properly thinking is to say that the purpose of your brain is being fulfilled. Otherwise, you have no standard for what, dysfunction is.
Well, then it's a purposeless statement. That's ridiculous.
No, because the human language isn't eternal and it doesn't exist.
It's all so bad.
Are we speaking about the same objective?
Do you not understand that this is a basic critique of your skeptical position?
No, what I'm saying.
You don't understand that.
You're using language that we know, we define, and you're saying that's universal and that's absolute truth. And even if we don't exist,
so translate it into logic. You can, you understand. You can translate those statements into logical statements, right?
Yes.
So no one has this knowledge. That's a universal quantifier in logic. That means that it doesn't exist anywhere. You just, by your own criteria, said no one can have.
I said humans.
Wait until you guys hear this guy's criteria and how similar it is to douchebag Dave over here.
Humans.
Okay.
I'm not making a
in your worldview, there's not. In your worldview, that's all there is. In your worldview, that's all there is.
Justified true belief cannot be obtained by us.
That's a universal claim.
About humans. So
it doesn't matter whether it's about humans. It's about humans in all states of affairs.
He's also conflating something. I kind of understand what Lucas being he's very confused, but he thinks that you can't have justified true belief because you can't know everything. He's saying that justified true belief has to be garbage because humans, being finite, can't know everything. That's totally, well, that would be like some category error of the levels of knowledge you have. The level of knowledge you have doesn't negate that you could know anything. The fact that you can't know everything doesn't negate that you can't know something.
Universally, it's still a universal claim. No one is a universal quantifier. This is basic college philosophy.
Human beings.
It doesn't matter that you keep saying human beings.
Human
it's a universal
beings.
claim.
I'm not saying a God can't do it. So you're strawmanning me. I said human. I said we can't.
If God exists, then that would be, in my position, that would be a justification for J.
Gnostic Informant used the comic as proof of evolution. He's the worst, dude. Thinking about it, the conversation I had with douchebag Dave, I was pretty annoyed at Gnostic Informant because it wasn't that he interrupted. We all interrupt. I interrupt. It was that he was well poisoning. Gnostic Informant just dripping poison into the well. That's it. That's all he did.
ATB. You're using these
categories.
categories.
But this is what I'm saying. So listen to me.
This guy's insane. He is.
I said we, as agents, you and I, human beings, we cannot obtain justified true belief.
Yeah, that's why I'm making a transcendental argument. That's what I've been arguing the whole time to you.
It doesn't. Listen, you're not understanding.
No, it's you that doesn't understand. You don't even know what a transcendental argument is. You said it's crazy.
I absolutely do.
Okay, what is it? What is it?
You're saying when you're making these claims that transcend all of the things we're talking about.
That's not what a transcendental argument is. You don't know what it is. Just admit you don't know what it is.
I do know what it is.
Then what is it? What is a transcendental argument?
We just had one. You literally just made one.
Okay, can you tell me what it is? Where does it come from historically? Give an example of it in the form.
Here we go with this whole.
So you don't actually.
Here we go with this whole philosophical stuff that I called in to do. Yes, it is hard to listen to. It is. But it is like, kind of does represent the collapse of these people's minds and their worldview, because it's like, it never really had anything to stand on, but it maybe the education system, secularism, progressivism, leftism, evolutionary, quote, theory, the kind of rotten seeds that it plants, we're finally seeing all the fruits of it. And now it's almost like it seems to me that like all of the rotten fruits from these trees, these broken, dead trees of philosophy, all of the fruits, the rotten fruits are falling to the ground, and we're just weeding through them and stepping in them and trying not to slip. And it's all like happening at once. You and Neil falling out. We wouldn't fall out. We can call each other names. At least he can handle it. If macro evolution is true, time-wise, what's their starting point, and how do they know how long each mutation took? They don't. Not a damn thing, Contemporary Compendium. That's why when you ask them, they just say, well, it had to happen. It had to.
No. But you said you did know.
Yeah, I do know.
But now you're saying you don't know.
You're strawmanning my argument. I'm saying
no, your argument isn't an argument. It's a fundamental contradiction.
His argument is a contradiction. It's really in the simple form. We can't know. I know that, and we can know. We can't know. We can know. We can't know. His statement is, we can't know anything. Jay's going, do you know that? He's saying, yeah, of course. Of course I know that. We can't know anything, ultimately. We have no justification for anything. Do you know that? Yeah. Oh, okay. I just see fruits, pretty much.
The fact that you said that we don't have access to...
Nothing in the universe can do it, including God.
Nothing. That's a universal quantifier. You're saying universally.
I didn't say that.
You just said nothing and no one. Did you not?
I said
nothing, no one.
I literally did the constraint.
Nothing and no one is a universal quantifier.
Jason, we're talking about humans. Why do you keep going to God?
It doesn't matter that you add on this phrase, we're talking about humans, because it would be universally the case for humans everywhere.
Thank you, Scottish.
Jason, yeah, and
Jason.
Yeah, okay. Then now you've admitted that it is a universal claim.
Wait a minute. So no.
Do you understand what a universal claim is?
What?
Do you understand what a universal claim is?
Yes. At
What?
all times, places, all possible worlds. Do we exist in all those places, possible worlds, and times? Do we? Do we as human
That's
beings
not what.
exist?
Even if you granted that, that's like totally non sequitur. But even if you just, looked into what he's saying, he doesn't have access to all possible worlds anyway. So he's a contradiction machine, this guy. Contradiction. I kind of wish he stayed on evolution though, but I hope I can talk to this Lucas guy about evolution.
That's not what possible worlds even means. It has nothing to do with whether we exist in all those
you tell
possible
me, 'cause
worlds.
I'm a retard. What does universal mean? Go ahead.
It just simply means at all times and all places. It doesn't even have to be.
Do human beings exist in all times and all places? The
Oh my
answer is
gosh.
no.
The question is not about human beings existing.
That's
We're
what I
talking
said.
about the
I
truth of the.
literally gave
Do you not understand what a truth of a claim is versus the human beings
That's
making the claim?
problem that's just what you guys always do.
This is what you guys always do. You always do proper thinking and proper categorization. It's just annoying.
Talk about the language and say.
No, you're making a fundamental mistake in category error. It's a category error.
No.
Do you know what a
I
category error
explained
is? Do you even know what a category error is?
Yes.
What?
It's when you can.
He's using universal like in every universe versus universal like a statement that's universally true. He's like, oh, that's all universes. What? Yeah, pretty much. Well, that's kind of funny. I kind of see him as that guy. Like he's like the uncle who was in a motorcycle accident and nobody asks if he had a head injury, and we think maybe he did, but if he didn't, okay, nobody wants to touch the topic. Let's get through the weekend. And it's like, there, Neil.
Conflate two different things, like Jim Bob was doing earlier, making purpose.
Oh, so
and
now you're
function
going
the
off
same
into
thing.
Jim Bob. What does Jim Bob have to do with this? You're saying that.
Bring it, Lucas. You just got completely annihilated by Jay. You're welcome to call in my stream anytime.
It's not universal because it talks about human beings and human beings aren't universal. That's so low tier, dude. That's ridiculous.
No, listen,
The
because
claim
it's
is the
extremely
universal,
human
not the human
beings.
being making the claim. This is silly.
You're literally strong. You're literally strong.
No, this is basic epistemology and logic
Appeals to the
101. To make a
metaphor.
universal
you're-
claim
this-
is when you have a universal quantifier. It doesn't mean the person is universal.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, and I'm saying no human beings could have justified true belief. We cannot.
That is a justified true belief. Lucas, you dum-dum. Unbelievable.
What would you say if I told you I was mentally retarded?
You're making a universal claim that would need a good reason to believe in, right? So you're making a claim that would be categorized as a justified true belief if it were true, right? Oh, man.
Not.
Yeah, there's a problem with saying that. It's a non sequitur because to have any kind of true belief requires JTB, namely to be able to say no one can have this position. That's what you don't understand.
Jason.
Why do you
Jason.
keep saying my name? What does that have to do with this?
The Gettier problem proved that we cannot.
No,
have
it doesn't.
You can't prove it. If the Gettier problem was legit, you couldn't prove the Gettier problem. Unbelievable.
All that says is that
Agrippa
no, it
didn't
doesn't.
defeat Agrippa.
That has nothing to do with the paradigm
Yes,
level.
does,
No, it
because
doesn't.
Agrippa the skeptic proved
No,
that
so
we
here you
cannot
go
have
off into
justified
this
true
is
belief.
not so erudite
It's not so erudite.
destiny level stuff.
No, did
You
see
should
what
not
I
have
said?
called in, man. This is making you look
Did you ever
ridiculous.
read my pie paper?
I should read.
Read my pie paper. Dude, I'm going to I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that every time. I'm going to actually, next time I debate anybody, I'm going to use you didn't read my pie paper, did you? Well, no, I look, I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue. I understand this could all be resolved right now. I think I know the problem. I think I know. You didn't read my pie paper, did you?
Read your pie paper. Okay.
Did you read it?
Did you read it? You would have had all. Hey, Jason, did you read the pie paper, Jason? So you see, this is it. You're making the same mistake as the other guys around here, around town. I knew it was something. I knew there was something. I didn't think to ask before I called in, but I knew there was something missing. You didn't read the pie paper.
Why would I read your? Why would I have read your pie paper?
Have you or not? I'm just asking. No, I'm asking.
What's crazy is Jason here just did a preface to this conversation without knowing this guy was going to call in about this aggressive level of Dunning-Kruger. And this guy calls in, and it's like legitimately the epitome of it.
Ask you, have you read my paper on the epistemic model that I came that actually transcends this Agrippa trilogy?
You have a pie paper that transcends the Agrippa dilemma?
I don't follow you. How would I read your paper?
Okay, well, if you read that, you understand that obtaining knowledge is not propositional; it's structural.
Oh wow!
You want me to go through the premises for you?
No, I'm not even.
That's a proposition, dude. Oh my gosh, meaningless gibberish, man. Gaining knowledge is not propositional; it's structural. Is that knowledge? Not
even going to entertain it because you've already demonstrated a fundamental lack of knowledge of these subjects.
I mean, who hasn't read his paper?
I don't know every terminology that you're claiming.
You don't know the basic terminology. Why would I listen to your paper? You don't know the basic terminology.
You literally said a universal is every place, every time, and every place. And I said human beings do not exist in every time and every place.
That's a category error. You're fundamentally not competent.
He doesn't understand the category error. He's referring to human beings if they're not universal. Human beings are not universal. They don't exist everywhere.
In epistemology.
Bro.
I said we would have to have omniscience to have justified true belief. That's why you appeal to God.
No, if you were omniscient, you would transcend JTB. JTB would be temporal. Using sense data, coming to evaluations, coming to propositions, testing the propositions, doing science, doing logic, doing math, all this stuff, right? Induction.
But human beings cannot have justified true belief.
And my argument, okay, do you understand? Could you state what my argument is? I know you don't believe it. Could you restate what I'm arguing?
Wild, dude.
Your argument about tag and how God is which argument do you talk about?
Yes, specifically what I'm saying is your violation and how it relates to tag.
Who's Jay talking to? This guy, Lucas Cage, who's sort of like this dissonant, half-right influencer type of guy.
You're arguing that...
He's like a race realist or something. I mean, dude, if you're going to be a race realist, all you white people out there, you're going to be race realist and try to like take over the nation and be like, we need to take over. Dude, you can't. You can't. If this is your mindset, if this is your level of thinking, you can't do shit, dude. I wouldn't trust you to change my car battery.
Essentially, in order to ground these transcendentals like logic and everything else, mathematics, you need an entity, a mind to ground them to keep it consistent.
Okay, but what was my critique of your claims?
You're saying that I'm making a universal claim that no one, including God, can have justified true belief. That's not what I said.
No. I'm saying that the phrase itself, the proposition, when you say no one can have that, that requires still access to a universal state of affairs to have the universal quantifier.
I'm saying we as human beings
doesn't even listen. He didn't even listen. This is why when you listen, you have an advantage. If you listen to people, and this is true just in your life, like without debating, if you learn to listen to people and listen to what they're saying, what the words they're saying, you have an advantage immediately. This guy is a dum-dum. He doesn't listen. Like Jay just did it so cleanly right there. You making that statement itself, according to your own system, you can't know that statement. Do you understand?
Justified. That's what I know.
But you stating that doesn't answer the objection, because the objection is at a level of presuppositional critique, and you're just saying another.
Oh, this guy gets booted from every. That's ironic because he's always against. He's one of the name-ems too, right? The irony is that a lot of the name-em people become name-ems themselves. They get booted out of 109 discords.
Thing that's not addressing the criteria. So this is ultimately a criteria
Cool
question.
It with the anti-Semitic
and you
remarks.
just appeal to another thing that isn't addressing the criteria question.
Now here's where it gets really funny, and then we'll move on to MythVision and those dweebs.
So yeah, I understand, and we agree that individual human beings, because they're finite and they go on the basis of empirical data, they don't have access immediately to universal categories. That's why
That's
David.
what I meant. Listen, Jason, I'm not an academic.
Jason.
Everyone knows that.
Wait a minute, but I thought I
needed
needed to read your pie paper on
I'm not an academic, but if you read my paper that transcends the Grippa dilemma.
how structuralism is the answer to all this.
Because I have this intuition where I could find.
Oh, so now we should go.
Is intuition, dude. It's the same as douchebag Dave. I'm right. I'm right.
Why should we go to your intuition? That's a ridiculous.
Is Lucas part of Pastor Marty Leeds' church? I doubt it. I doubt it. I think he's more of a materialist when it comes to this stuff.
Because I
think that's too spiritual for him.
understand when there's a contradiction.
You understand where there's a contradiction? That's rich. That's why Jason is laughing. Because I understand where there's a contradiction.
So,
well, then how come you don't understand the contradiction I'm pointing out, if you understand?
See, sometimes you have to give P and not P. Sometimes you have to make it that basic. Just go P and not P. We can't know anything. If P1's true, then you know something. That's a contradiction. We can't know anything. We can't have justified true belief. If P is true and you know it, then you contradicted yourself.
I do understand.
Okay, what is the contradiction?
We can't make universal truth claims, but evolution is 100% fact yet.
What is the contradiction specifically that I'm pointing out?
You're saying because I said no one, it's a universal claim. Mm-hmm. You're saying that because I said no one, which I didn't, I was talking about us, people, and I constrained it, that it's impossible for anyone, including God, to have justified true belief. Is that not what you're arguing?
No, I'm sure that you could say theoretically that God might have that. But that doesn't matter in regards to the proposition itself. Do you understand propositions themselves have truth values and that you can extrapolate logical forms?
The problem with, and I say this in my epistemic model.
Oh, we say it.
When you have a proposition, it has to be justified. And how do you justify it?
He just literally just went against the thing, justified true belief. When you have a proposition, you have to justify it. Why? Is that true?
Are you a foundationalist? Are you an infinitist? What are you epistemically, Jay?
I'm a revelation theorist, so I believe in divine revelation, which is none of those,
right.
which is not. Stop interrupting me. Which is none of those secular models. So what is your model?
This is the best. What is your model? Listen closely.
I have my own model.
I have my own model. What's your model? I have my own model. What is that? My own model.
And basically, what I discovered is this: how I describe how human
so this is all just
and justify any of their beliefs.
This is ridiculous.
You got booted. I have my own model. My model is that human beings can't justify their true beliefs, but I have a model. Is your model true? Honestly, these people. I mean, I just like... Honestly. These are the guys who are like, look, we got to take back America. Race realism is true. There's a correlate to a high IQ and race. And we're going to take it over. Not you, buddy. Maybe you'll fix a crane. That's fine. But know your role. You're going to fix a crane. Know it. Dude, you can find, you'll be valuable. But just know where you're valuable. You're not leading the charge, bucko. You're not giving the Braveheart speech there, Lucas Cage. You're not painting your face. You're fixing things. You're fixing guns, welding a fence. You know what I mean? Replacing a horseshoe. You're a dum-dum, dude. You're a dum-dum. Anyway, let's look at the moment I confront this another dum-dum who, well, let's listen. Would you agree that from your perspective that the brain was a process of random mutations, produced by random mutations?
Brains in general and every other organ and every other aspect of all life ever, yes.
Okay, so then, and it wasn't developed for any purpose, right?
No, not any inherent purpose, but it serves, it is useful, right? Animals with brains have processing ability, and then especially humans, we have this huge frontal lobe that is capable of all kinds of complex.
I understand, but you would say that your brain has no real purpose, right?
It has no inherent purpose. I use it for the purpose of thinking.
I use it for the purpose of thinking. It doesn't have a purpose of thinking, though. Okay, but it's not made for the purpose of thinking.
There is no God that on purpose.
Dude, see how we went to God? It's always the same with these people. It's the same thing over and over again. It's like you corner them on their system. They go, well, there's no God, anything but God.
Purpose made things with.
It doesn't have purpose, but it's useful.
The purpose that
I didn't say God. No, God doesn't exist in this hypothetical.
Okay.
I just want you to understand from your view.
Then you would agree that nothing would have any kind of inherent purpose from a higher power. If it's all chance, then there's no inherent purpose to anything other.
They think this is like a gotcha. They think this is a good lily pad to land on.
Than what proliferates due to conferring a survival advantage.
And so why would I listen to sounds coming from a purposeless brain?
Because I'm right.
Okay. Well, thanks for the conversation then.
Happy to do it. Hope you learned.
That was great, Jim Bob. I enjoyed you coming on. Thanks for jumping on, man.
No problem. Thanks, Derek.
Thank you. Yeah, that was interesting. Thanks for sticking around, Dave. We didn't expect that.
That was great.
Yeah.
Man.
I didn't want to interrupt, but I wanted to let you guys.
I didn't see this cope, so let me see what they say.
I couldn't help it a few times because it was just even I was understanding what he was saying, and it seemed like he was pretending not to know. Or
no, dude, I wasn't pretending to not understand, you douchebags. I was asking him very basic questions about biology and evolution. Not because I don't understand them, because what it's called is an internal critique. If this is true, basic propositions about evolution, then I skip to the next part of the critique, dummy. These people think when I ask interrogative questions that I'm asking because I need to be educated. No, dummies. I'm asking cross-examination questions from the evolutionary view because if you hold the position that there was once a group of animals that didn't have a penis or a leg, then random mutation had to produce a fully functioning leg that properly functions, even though there's no such thing as proper function. You bunch of mimbos.
Or just didn't know. I don't know.
He's trying to come across as very methodical and focused, but in fact, he's just he wants to know how something develops morphologically. But when I start talking about mutation and embryonic development,
this is where he went. This is where he misstepped, by the way, because when I go, how does random mutation produce a penis or something or a liver or anything, right? He knows the question, right? He goes, do you know embryonic development? Yeah, like an embryo developing, right? How is that an answer to the question? He goes, well, there could be a mutation in an embryo that creates a web in a foot. Well, the question isn't about the web in the foot. You're claiming that the embryonic process of growth launched the pathway to developing a leg itself. Notice that every time I ask them, how do you get random mutation to produce a penis? He says, well, you start with a flatworm penis or something. No, that needs an answer now. He didn't answer that. How do you get a workable appendage with a highly specific function? Well, don't you know anything about embryonic development? Yeah. Where in the embryonic development does the beginning of an entirely new functional appendage begin? He says webbed feet. You mean like a foot? Oh, so the random thing called an embryonic mutation started the process of a fully functioning foot with the DNA, by the way, that informs how bending operates accidentally?
He wants to talk about something completely different. Happens every time.
Well, and I think he really wanted to focus on purpose and there being some sort of meaning behind it all.
No, I didn't say anything about meaning, you dumb prick. You stupid, stupid man, Neil. Nobody talked about greater meaning. No one talked about God, Biff.
And science doesn't necessarily have.
Evolution is possible. It has evidence. But unlike God, it is not necessary and would be of the universe. No, it doesn't have any evidence, dude. Not even close.
I don't think science is really saying there can't be a purpose to all this.
I wasn't talking about a higher purpose, you dummy. Neil, you're a dummy. That would be an external thing. That would be an external. We're talking about just any purpose, any purpose. If there's a function to the brain and there you could say that there's a dysfunction to the brain, then if you said there's a dysfunction, it would be saying that it had a purpose. It was purpose, its purpose and its function were tied together. Or otherwise you can't say it's malfunctioning.
It's just we're just trying to figure out the mechanics behind things, right?
Look,
well, mechanics, what's mechanics, dummy? How are you this dumb, Neil? Seriously. We're trying to figure out the mechanics. Okay, do mechanics have purpose? Does the function of mechanics have some sort of purpose in what it does? You just admitted, dude, they don't seem to have a problem with this. These 3 Mimbo dummies don't seem to have a problem with the statement, my brain, I believe from my worldview, my brain, its proper function isn't thinking properly. That thinking properly isn't a purposeful function of my brain. They believe that. None of them even question it. They were just like, yup. And yet here they are using their brain that they think was accidentally created, not for thinking, by the way, not for thinking. They think they came from a process, their whole body came from a process that's accidental, including their brain, and they're using their brain to talk about truth, and their brain to them is something that wasn't actually developed for thinking at all. Further, philosophically speaking, which these 3 aren't ready for this, I wanted to keep it pretty Sesame Street level, is that when Dave says, I use my brain, look, the brain isn't purposed for thinking, but I use it for thinking. Dave doesn't understand, because he's philosophically retarded, is that when he says I, that is the brain from his view. I use my brain. That's like saying my brain uses my brain.
If there is some nebulous deity that triggered the initial singularity and let everything unfold.
Nobody argued God in this whole conversation. You 3 dipshits. Did they experience like some sort of like time warp where that 20 minutes of cross-examining random mutation and the function of biology, did they experience that as like an argument for God?
Fold according to
how come you use name calling because it gets in the way of your arguments? It doesn't. You're just sensitive. I don't use name calling, dipshit, in exchange of an argument. I use it in addition. You're just sensitive.
Physical characteristics for the universe that it conjured.
He said random mutation is random, natural selection isn't natural selection, picks the traits. It doesn't pick. Look at it like this. Here's how I'm going to argue from this perspective, okay? From now on when I debate these people. Random mutation is the factory at work, right? The conveyor belts and all this stuff. Natural selection is the division of the factory that's doing quality control, okay? Think of it like that. There's a conveyor belt that's producing products and services, and then it gets its way into the next room, and there's all these things, the natural world, hitting it, trying to drown it or whatever. It has no intention, by the way. That would be random too when you really think about it, Makito. Because the environment is what? The expression of a bunch of random things from their view. Random mutation. The environment is made up of ecology, which is also, from their view, products of random mutation. So that's like saying like, well, random mutation is random. I would ask Dave in a proper debate, how do you know it's random? He would fall flat on that, of course. But even if you granted the term random, the environment, the thing that's doing the quality control, natural selection, that's made up of a bunch of things under his view that's also the product of random mutation. So they're kind of caught in the absence of coherent categories.
And is just watching the whole show and has a reason in mind for it all. Believe that. I don't care.
Nobody brought up reasoning, dude. These people are despicable. They're actually despicable. Along with my poop question, I also want to know where symmetry comes from in the evolution. Yeah, I thought about symmetry too. That has to be random. Did each limb evolve independently? How did the limbs evolve independently of the brain that control them? Yeah, I bring up symmetry a little bit, Mud, and when I just generally talk, and it's a good point because random mutation, every process being random, being chance producing so much symmetry really doesn't make sense. They would say, well, natural selection selected for symmetry. Well, no, we're not talking about what's selected for symmetry. We're not talking about whether the natural selection allowed for symmetry to exist. We're talking about random, the factory. Remember, we're not in the other room yet. We didn't get to the quality control room yet. The factory, from their view, randomly produced beautiful symmetry for no reason. It's all chance. Dave, after this exchange, and I'm going to do a video on this exchange. I'm going to break down his positions because this wasn't a debate. And this is good to know. I'm learning this myself. There's different places you show up, and you can't treat every place, at least I can't, like a debate. What you need to do is gather intel, get them to say things. Don't try to own them, at least for me. Other people are better at owning people on the spot. Fine. I'm just saying for me, in this environment, being that there are three of them and one of me, the only thing I was really keen on doing is I need to get him to make statements. That's what I need. Statements. I need statements from him. And I'm gonna take those statements and make a thorough pre-recorded video of it, just dissecting the problems with what he said.
Yeah,
right?
we would have no reason to tell or not. Yeah,
I don't believe it. It doesn't bother me. It's an uninteresting conversation to me, but it would in no way negate the fruits of the scientific labor.
Why do creationists have such a problem with things happening by accident? Accident doesn't make any sense. That's why Mobius. Accident is something you don't have a system for. Accident is the moving away from something purposeful. So accident itself, the term itself, that's why we have a problem with it. Because you should have a problem with it too. You can't call anything an accident unless you have access to what it's intended to do, right? Have you ever thought about this? Have you ever thought about what you refer to as an accident and how you know it would be an accident? The only way you would reference an accident is if you had access to something called not that. It's only called an accident because it's moving away from something purposeful. There's no way to talk about an accident, dude. It doesn't have its own positive ontology. That's why.
In determining,
Right.
the rules of the biological world and, every other tier of scientific complexity. Yeah, that's it.
I actually think if Aristotle and some of the ancient Greeks were alive today, they'd be evolutionists.
What? That's irrelevant, dude. Neil, you're so dumb. I really didn't know that someone with the capacity to take in so much philosophical and theological and historical information can maintain such low-level cognition.
They already had the sort of inductive and deductive reasoning mindset going on. They would have believed the data.
They would have believed the data. I don't say, hey, Neil, do you know that data doesn't make statements about itself? You stupid boy. They would have believed the data. Data doesn't have interpretation embedded in it. No, they would have thought a little bit more intelligent about that than you. They would have believed the data. Trust the data. Can you believe the retardation? Honestly, I'm on a hot one right now. Believe the data? What do you chew crayons? What do you have, bags of Big Lead Chew, but it's crayons? You believe this guy? Hey Neil. Hey Neil. Data doesn't interpret itself. Believe me, I'm data. Believe me. Hey, what does the data say? Don't worry, I'll tell you, I'm the data. No. The philosophers you're referring to would have understood, well, no, data needs a knower, needs an interpreter. You can't sit around looking at data and it's going to tell you what it means. It's so dumb.
But yes, Aristotle was one of the most brilliant minds in human history, and he would definitely accept science. I mean, some would say he was the first scientist under a certain definition.
Data itself isn't science, you pseudo-scientific douchebag. Looking at data is not doing science. Another fallacious angle of reasoning. If evolution is so widespread and believed in, why? Oh, so is religion. So is religion. Islam is widespread and believed in, Herbert. I don't have patience for this, okay? I don't have patience for this. Have you considered reading what you're writing before you hit enter? How come evolution is so widespread and believed in?
He was probably, arguably, the...
So, like a lie can't be widespread? Are you saying that lies can't be widespread and the justification for something to be true is if it's widespread and believed in? Good, you should be religious then, because religion across humanity has been widespread and believed in.
The first scientist.
That's what Bacon says. Bacon says that in his, I forgot the name of the book. But
I mean, he was the first. I mean, he definitely held.
Obviously, Mobius not listening to a word I said. These people don't listen. They got stuff in their ears. They don't listen. It's not about discovery. It's accidents. You can't tell me what an accident is, dude. How are you purposefully just not getting it? You don't have a standard for what's an accident, dude. Accident presupposes purpose. Accident, you can't call something an accident unless it's a deviation from something purposeful. Holy cow! That is a big super chat!
Austin from Australia says, "You're on fire this week, JB.
Thank you.
Absolutely loving the stream."
Thank you, Austin. Thank you so much. God bless you and God bless Australia. I hope you guys work it out there. Do you understand, Mobius, what's being presented to you? You keep referring to accidents, but the only way you could make sense of an accident is putting it as a deviation from something that was purposeful or intended, okay? Let me put it this way. Accident assumes intention. There's no way around it, dude. Now, you just ignoring me isn't going to help. I wish they would confront any of this.
Unscientific views, like he thought things fell to the ground because that was the nature of them to seek the ground. I mean, it doesn't mean anything, but he was probably the first figure to ever say that.
Doesn't really mean anything. That's the basis of mass attracts mass. It's literally the thing you guys appealed to for 111 years. He's like, it doesn't really mean anything. Literally, the thing you appeal to is mass attracts mass. That it's a fundamental of the nature itself of the thing, that it attracts other things. But if Dave has so many people and he's so widespread and so widely known with 7 million subs, how could he be false? How could anything he be saying is false? Like, he has so many people listening to him. It can't be the case. Thomas says for 10 buckaroonies, he says, under their view, how do they even define a mutation? They have no access to any universal structure of any organism. Doesn't this just reduce down to things randomly live and die? Pretty much. The whole death thing is interesting. I didn't push back on it, but I'll do it in my video, which is, he says, well, you know, there was a web foot. And I go, how do you know it's advantageous? And he goes, well, if they live long enough. They lived long enough without the web foot. Is not having the web foot an advantage too? If they get the web foot and they live how long? Everything dies. What are you talking about? That doesn't even make sense. If they live long enough, how long? Did you notice that under all of our worldviews, everything that's living dies? How long? What's the threshold? How many seasons do they have to live for it to be like an advantage? And by the way, like I said, everything that happened before this new magical appendage appeared and gave the organism an advantage. It swam a little bit faster on the river. Well, clearly, the advantage it would get is dwarfed by the generations of its existence beforehand. Dwarfed. Clearly, it existed without that new feature just fine. Well, if it died, then if it helped live, and it's helped live for how long? Accident means there's a regularity, and if something deviates from it, then it's an accident. It has nothing to do with purpose or rather than regularity. What do you mean? Give me an example. What are you talking about? You talking about the regularity of nature? Dude, if you're talking about biology, you have no access to regularity, dude, because you don't have access to all time. What are you talking about? Dude, you think you just came back with something, by the way, and it actually made your position worse because you don't know what's regular. You can't tell me how you know something's random. What, if you don't see the regularity within your lifetime of 100 years? Is that what it is? Can something deviate, every once in a while? Do you call it an accident? You don't know where you are, dude. You're way out of your league here. Way out of your league. And by the way, you're using a proprietary definition of accident anyway. You just reinvented. An unfortunate incident that happens unexpectedly or unintentionally, typically resulting in an outcome that is not preferred. Or an event that happens by chance, question begging, that is without any apparent or deliberate cause. That's the one you're trying to run with, right? Let's run with that. Here we go. This is the one you're trying to defend, right? An event that happens by chance. How do you know it's by chance? That's what's in question. How do you know it's by chance? Mobius says it's by chance if it goes against the regularity. Well, how do you know it went? That's just moving the goalpost. How do you know it's out of regularity? How would you know that? Is it your lifetime of observation? Is it 3 generations? Is it 1,000 years? How would you know? The thing is, accidentalism itself, the entire view, is self-refuting, not only because accident has to be in relation to something that's not an accident, but if everything's an accident, you have nothing to refer to to say it's an accident, because everything's an accident. The irony here is that I'm telling you guys, the people holding this view, that you don't have a definition of accident. You don't really have a standard. But the problem is, if you believed in accidentalism, you couldn't tell me what's not an accident under this view. Your own reasoning, dude, your own thinking is a result of accidentalism. We just call it an accident. It's a deviation from the norm. Yeah, how do you know what the norm is? You still assert the thing in question. Do you understand? You don't seem to understand what you're like. Can I just use the term accident? It's just referring to this other thing that I have no way of knowing the norm is. What's the norm? That's the point, dude. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
That there things happen according to natural laws and orders, and we can discern them.
Exactly.
Right? Then it took all the way until Galileo for him to say, not only that, but this shit is mathematical. Like, we can have equations.
If I'm upside down in my car, see blue lights, and I hear sirens, I know I had an accident. Yeah. We didn't ask. Holy shit, people. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Glory to God for never making me a king. That's not even, dude, this is an atheist who's common in my comments section. This is what we deal with. Thank you, God, for making our enemies so weak.
That you can put numbers in and...
Yeah, Martins, Chris. Yeah, and the reason you call that an accident, because there was intention involved. You had the intention of driving on the road and not flipping your car. And you deviated from that because there was intention there. Right? Glory to God.
Make a calculation and it'll tell you what's going to happen. And it does, with all my little balls and the pendulum and the ramps and everything. You're just like, holy shit, the universe is math. Like, that's why Galileo is the father of modern science.
No, the universe isn't math. Math is descriptive. Math isn't found in the universe. Math describes the universe. You can't say the universe is math. You're a dum-dum.
Then fast forward all the way to today. I mean, it's like, I don't know. If you can't get on board with science, I just have no patience for it. You know what I mean?
He's so dumb and smug, dude. He's such a dumb, smug, arrogant prick, this guy. Look at that face. That's a face only a look maxer can love.
I mean, so.
Yeah.
That guy really changes my understanding of what the purpose of a hammer is.
Oh.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean,
oh, it's unfortunate, Derek. Oh, it's unfortunate. Why is it unfortunate? What's unfortunate, Derek? Are you sad? He has no idea. He has no idea what science is.
And it'd be cool to see them all get on board and still be theistic evolutionists. You know what I mean?
Holy crap, dude.
But when you're denying...
Oh my gosh, dude. It would be cool for them to get on board and be theistic evolutionists. Why? Why would that be cool? All three of you dummies. Do you understand that from your view, our beliefs, our rejection from your view of science is also selected for? Did you ever think there was an advantage, perhaps, from your own stupid view to holding an evolutionary view? Isn't it logically possible, you three bimbos? Isn't it logically possible, from your view, that the rejection of evolution as a worldview has an advantage?
Evolution. I mean, at what point do you just start realizing, hey, okay, let me go with the facts on what I see and make it match my theology?
This is why I get so irritated when I get painted, obviously, as the angry atheist. It's like, I don't care about my atheism. It's a very uninteresting part of me, and I don't engage in theism versus atheism debates because I don't care. If your conception...
No. You don't engage with worldview level debates because exactly what just happened with that tiny exchange with me. You don't engage with the debates, Dave, because simple questions, epistemic questions from your view, get reduced to matter in motion. And you know you'd get eaten alive. You little slippery weasel. I always find it funny how they avoid statistics in math when it comes to evolution and abiogenesis, which screams, yeah, they believe in something statistically, mathematically impossible without God. But they always make it about God. They're coping so hard. They make it fully about God. It has nothing to do with God right now. We're talking about your view. The godless evolutionary view. Your view. Unfortunately. Yeah, that's what's unfortunate.
Of a God contradicts science, I'll debate you about why you're wrong about science. But if your conception of God is completely accepting, 100% accepting of all of science, I have nothing to... We can have a fun conversation, a stonery conversation, but I have no interest in trying to strip you of this unoffensive God that doesn't contradict any science that I happen to not believe in. And it's just not a very interesting conversation to me. It's science deniers that I will humiliate. You know what I mean?
You'll humiliate science deniers, Dave, with your epistemology that I'm just right and that my brain isn't actually purposefully thinking. You're gonna humiliate science deniers when your own account of what science is coming from a brain that is randomly in motion, giving you outputs that you can't even know are true. This guy.
I thought that was great, though. I mean, it was interesting to see back and forth. I will say this for the debunk that you did. Don't you feel he was kind of respectful to you personally compared to what he could have been? I mean, he could have been like,
well, compared to Jay, he's a little more restrained than Jay. Jay is just like in a race to be.
Yeah.
Oh, he would have rage quit really fast.
Oh, real fast.
Jim Gob can handle it a little more.
Yeah.
If we go just off our observations, then the Earth is flat. I don't get why they don't understand science as a combination of material and metaphysical. Well, because they reject the philosophy of science. They think it's not important for whatever reason. I don't know what's going on when they go. I looked it up. They still teach philosophy of science as a precursor to science, right? But maybe they just don't fully lay it on or something. Maybe they're being light with it or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So that was fun, I guess.
So again, any final thoughts from you, Dave? We don't want to keep you, man. I want to be able to say, hey, brother, we're going to do a stream. Come on. I don't want you to think, oh, we're going to be stuck for a long time. But that turned into something. Yeah.
Well, he denied. He already denied the debate with Jay. So
yeah. No, that was cool. And what is this? Coping and storytelling?
I appreciate the $10 to tell us that, man. Thank you.
You mean the storytelling of creationists and their stories? I mean, you can tell stories about science, I guess, but they can be interesting. Creationism will always be. Creationism and flat Earth are the two that are the easiest for me to just jump into. You know what I mean? Like when I do the anti-vaxxer stuff, when I'm debunking. Peter McCullough and everything, like you have to
thank you, Jake Rattlesnake, for the raid, sir.
Look at their fake papers and figure out where they're lying. And there's a lot more journalism and more discipline involved in that kind of stuff. So I have to kind of jump in back to creationism and stuff just for an easy, whenever I do a reaction video, it's usually creationism because it's just off the top of my head, very easy to
see. This is what I would ask this absolute douchebag slime ball. Is this, hey, Dave, right? Dave, do you have any purpose? Is there any purpose to you debunking creationism or debating science deniers? And further, is there any purpose for them adopting your view after consideration? Is there any purpose to that? He would have to say no. All three of these dummies, Derek, Gnostic Informant, and douchebag Dave. None of you guys have any purpose or reason for doing what you're doing. Zero. From your own view, debunking creationism, debunking theism, trying to go after people who are skeptical or outright deny evolution. You don't even have a purpose for that, dude. It's embarrassing. And yet here you are with your cameras and your books and your microphones and your StreamYards and all this stuff, right? You got it all set up for no reason at all, admittedly. No reason.
Expose the stupidity of it, you know. But
yeah,
that's it. That was fun.
I think I have Guts at Gibbon on next month, and we'll be dealing with either young Earth creationist,
another little goblin who doesn't want to deal with the cross-examination of evolution,
or we're going to be tackling the interesting. I don't know if you saw William Lane Craig made a recent video that he's been thinking this, but he like really just said what he thought, and it's hard to get him to say things this blunt. Adam and Eve are 750,000-year-old pre-Neanderthal, Denisovan, Homo sapien ancestors, and he went on record saying
the Bible's wrong, man. So the Bible's wrong, then. That's what he's basically saying.
He's trying, bro. He's trying. He's like
the difference there. 750,000 is that's a very interesting. Also, first of all, because I don't think that they're. Oh no, yeah. Well, first of all, 750,000 years does not predate Homo sapiens.
Right.
Oh no, yes it does. No, yeah, it does. Sorry.
No,
they don't know. They don't know. Look at Dave thinking as if he has some knowledge of, by the way, any criteria for when Homo sapiens arrive on the tree scene, right? And I say tree scene because from their view, everything's branching off, right? This is another critique that wasn't appropriate for this format, because it's getting more into the philosophical categories like clades, Homo sapiens, humans, these terms, right? Constantly used by these people. And you just ask them really basic questions. You have it that humans arrive on the scene, right? That's the language, like they come off stage right. They're finally on the stage of humanity, of the world. They're on the stage. You ask these people a simple question. How do you know, what's the criterion you use to determine humans or Homo sapiens arrive in the chronological story of the world? How do you know when that is? You see, nobody goes without a creation story. Nobody. Everybody listening, every single one of you, if you actually were pressed on it, would have to adopt an origin story. And this is why teleology is so important. A fancy word for purpose, why we're here, what we are, where we are, what we are, where we're going, is always inextricably tied to your origin story. And this is where you could actually usefully look at Marvel or stories themselves and look at the origin story of these characters. There's always an origin story. And their origin story is inextricably tied to their telos, their purpose. You can't unwind them. They're tied together. And so this is why we say evolution, the evolutionary view, the strictly material view that we're just molecules in motion, we're just biology in motion. It's dysteleological, as Jay would say. Dysteleological. Because it doesn't have an origin story. That's a part of the consequence and entailment of the absence of an origin. It has a gradualistic, ambiguous, non-distinct emergence. That's it. It doesn't tell you what you are, where you are, how you are, where you're going, or anything. It tells you nothing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks. So much. And people like these guys, right? These guys don't think about these questions. They don't. Why would they think about these questions? They already hold to a view that they have no purpose. What would be the purpose of pursuing purposeful questions about your purpose? Why would you do that? Why would you do that if you really believed you were a skin suit? Why would you pursue anything if you really thought from your view your entire body and mind and non-soul, your animation, the way in which you're being animated was completely directed by strict chemistry? I could have went so much harder on this guy because I could have went into Hey, Dave. Hey, douchebag. Do you think all your thoughts and beliefs and propositions and evaluations are just strictly reduced to chemical processes? Of course, yeah, duh. Everyone knows this. Cool. How can a chemical process be right or wrong? Yeah. Why were any of these people wrong? Why is getting kuru, is it wrong to eat human brains? No, we just agree not to do it.
It does Homo sapiens, but someone else brought this out in a
Wouldn't that be Homo
reaction.
erectus?
Yeah, it doesn't predate other very closely related hominid species.
Yeah, that's what someone else was saying, because it feels like what he's trying to do is create an umbrella for any animal type creatures that are like us, so that, you know, he can allow them to be under the, well, God put a soul in.
How ironic. William Lane Craig, whose theology is garbage. He's trying to create an umbrella. What the fuck do you guys think you're doing? Excuse my language. Lord of mercy. Did he just say that? Did he just slow-mo? Maybe slow-mo. Maybe slow-mo.
Right.
Oh, no, yes, it does. No, yeah, it does. Sorry.
No, it does Homo sapiens, but someone else brought this out in a
Wouldn't that be Homo
reaction.
erectus?
Yeah, it doesn't predate other very closely related hominid species.
Yeah, that's what someone else was saying, because it feels
Here, let's listen to this part in slow-mo. Derek is so unaware.
like what he's trying to do is create an umbrella for any animal type creatures that are like us, so that, you know, he can allow them to be under the, well, God put a soul in things like us.
Absent the soul part, you know, that's true. William Lane Craig is trying to arbitrarily say a point in time in the population of humankind, God arbitrarily picked one, and suddenly there was image bearer status, as opposed to God created man in his image from the start. But if that was true, then Adam's parents, his biological parents, would be beasts. He could actually turn them into animal husbandry assets. Further, he could enslave them, and all of the behaviors of the previous population that looked and smelled and sounded just like Adam could be doing all sorts of horrendous things to each other. But William Lane Craig, dude, I mean, that guy needs an old person's home, honestly.
The last known occurrence of Homo erectus is 117,000 years ago, according to Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. This is just like the ID crowd is like, human evolution is very problematic for them, because we have this very smooth gradient from the common ancestor of humans and or of hominids and chimpanzees all the way, multiple
No, you don't. It's just unbelievable. The assertions, none of these people have the balls to actually, because there's such a social ramification. It's like evolution was the first COVID, not with the first, but like the first pressure system socially. That's the real power of evolution, is that it has such a social stronghold on people's minds that, like, if I say this, then it's like, you deny. So you can't properly examine it. You have to do it in hiding, or you have to be in the corners of the internet, and you have to be a lolcow to do it. And they think that's proper scientific skepticism. That's what's hilarious. We're the real skeptics, except for a whole list of bullet points you can't question at all, or we're gonna bombard you. Liberalism rotted everyone's brain. Now they all think because I wanna is a good reason. Yeah, that's pretty much what it reduces to, because I wanna.
Genera, obviously all the Australopithecines, but even before that, there's numerous species, and just going all the way through that are very gradually gaining, like, bipedality.
Atheists make their own purpose. I can find purpose in caring for my children, my loved ones, making the world a better place. And I know, I'm a bunch of molecules that I'm going to die. If you're a bunch of molecules, where does better exist in pure molecules? Do you think? What is a better place? What's caring? What does caring mean? How is one activity caring and the other's not? What are you talking about, dude? Under your own view, you sound like a lunatic. Better place? I'm sorry. You just reduced everything to molecules in motion. There's no such thing as better. There's no such thing as purpose. There's no such thing as caring. There is no loving. There's no loved ones. They're not even persons, dude. They're objects. They're biological masses. They're meat masses. They're meat robots. They're meat sticks. You freak. Lord have mercy.
Like Australopithecines are intermediary in the sense of having morphology that allows them to like swing through trees, like what we would call ape-like, and then also are bipedal to try to like traverse the savannas in between the gradually receding treetop areas. So it's like they're very undeniably neither chimps nor.
This guy does. Dave just says, oh, they have all of these tails and stuff because, you know, they had to have these in this location. According to evolution, dummy, those animals, whatever they were before they adopted these new things called tails, had to have lived just fine in that location in order to trigger some development toward adaptive mechanisms like tails and things that help them in that scenario. They don't want to deal with this. They're, oh yeah, no, they had that and they developed the tail and the other thing. You know why? Because you look at the geography of the time, you know, they needed this for this geography. Were they there to develop it, or did they accidentally develop a tail and then the climate change happened and was like, we're rewarding you? They just storytell. Just pure storytelling.
Humans. So they have to kind of explain it away. And there's like, they either have to say none of it exists, or they were all actually humans or a kind of human, you know, differentiated in as much as like breeds of dogs to just call them one kind. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, this is interesting. That's coincidentally, Dave, you douchebag. Coincidentally, you can't tell me how a human isn't also the other thing it came from, categorically. Right? He's like, oh, yeah, they're just trying to categorize the humans in a category, right? Well, from your view, they're in a clade, and the clade includes eventually something that is completely dissimilar to a human, according to your view. Completely dissimilar. And yet, when you talk to these people about evolution, their arguments for how evolution is evident is based and grounded in similarity. Yet the wholeness of the evolutionary paradigm, the grand narrative of evolution, includes mostly dissimilar things chronologically. And they're like, well, I'm going to just stick to the, you know, there's humans and then there's other things similarly shaped and functional, similarly coded, similarly expressed genetically things. And, you know, we must have a common ancestor because of that similarity. Okay. And then you go before the earliest thing he calls an ancestor. Notice how all the common ancestors are reduced to things that look similar. And yet, if you keep pressing them to go back in time, they have to eventually say, well, this thing is completely dissimilar to both chimps and humans, but it's our ancestor. We go, how do you know that? They can't use similarity anymore. They can't use similarity anymore. They can't. They have to go full Hindu. I got a question. When he said we conquered natural selection, isn't that kind of true? No, because that's the thing is like you couldn't know that. Like I brought this up the other day, Dangerous Loaf of Bread, is that he said, well, no, humans, in the conversation, he said humans are no longer subject to natural selection the same way because we came up with all this technology. And the question to him is, well, hold on a second. First of all, other animals, we take care of their populations. And I'm not talking about cattle. That's why he moved off of this subject. If you rewatch it, I pressed him on this and he was like, no, get out of here, eject. because he knew suddenly he had to include arbitrarily a set of animals that were outside of natural selection by way of humans interacting with them. That includes reducing populations of wolves and coyotes and deer, creating conservation, hundreds of miles of conservation for animals. Is that they're no longer under natural selection because humans intervened and created an artificial scenario for them? How would you even know that? Further, how would you know that our luxury and decadence and technology we have now that give us longer lives in the short term, in the generational sense, longer lives because we can avoid disease, how would you know from the evolutionary view that that wasn't ultimately a disadvantage to humans? How would you even know that? They don't want to deal with these questions. They're cowards. They don't want to deal with any of these questions. They're total cowards.
Right.
Yeah.
Redefine things and make it fit. Yeah. But that's funny because they take the Bible as like this, no matter what has to be true, but I want to keep as much science as possible. So we can just kind of rearrange things. And the Bible says, even though Luke and Matthew give us a genealogy that goes all the way back to Adam, and we can do the math and get like between 5,000 and 7,000 years roughly for the world. Mm-hmm. Well, let's just ignore that. Let's just say that's metaphorical. And now I can operate and say, well, we have hominids that are 100,000, 70,000, 700,000 years old or whatever. Maybe that's Adam and Eve. And it's like, look, I respect that more than just denying out fossils and stuff, but it's
denying out fossils. Excuse me? Hey, Gnostic Neil, would you like to debate me one-on-one on evolution, sir, without your little friends? Would you like to defend your view of what fossils are and how you come to these conclusions about what they mean insofar as evolution is concerned? Denying, it's just unbelievable.
Still kind of, you're just
based on the bones, as you can see by the bones of the bone. Based on
you're using the Bible as an axiom before anything else. That's what you're doing.
And you're using a presuppositional worldview about age of the earth to interpret all these other subcategories of things, dummy.
Obviously, intelligent design is less pseudoscientific than young earth creationism, but it's still pseudoscience. It's an intellectualized pseudoscience.
That's just rich. Coming from someone who is dogmatically arguing that evolution is proper science. See, I have a standard for what determines pseudoscience from science, Dave, and you don't. My standard is, for it to be a scientific theory, it has to go through the scientific method at least. At least. Evolution doesn't make its way through the scientific method. That's pseudoscience. Post hoc rationalization. Pseudoscience.
It's harder to debunk. It's harder to debunk Discovery Institute than Kent Hovind, but it is ultimately fallacious and I mean, let's be honest, propaganda. It's full of deliberate misrepresentation. It's not a valid position, right? It's propaganda. It's Christian.
What's wrong with propaganda? Excuse me?
Christian nationalists.
Christian nationalist? Oh my gosh, this guy's such a dipshit. It's Christian nationalists
trying to make religion, trying to make a superstition seem sciencey.
It's Christian nationalists trying to make religion sound sciencey. Is that it? That's it? Listen to that. Listen to that clip. Unbelievable. This is some top tier stuff.
100,000, 70,000, 700,000 years old or whatever. Maybe that's Adam and Eve. And it's like, look, I respect that more than just denying out fossils and stuff, but it's still kind of, you're using the Bible as an axiom before anything else. That's what you're doing.
Obviously, intelligent design is less pseudoscientific than young earth creationism, but it's still pseudoscience. It's an intellectualized pseudoscience. It's harder to debunk. It's harder to debunk Discovery Institute than Kent Hovind, but it is ultimately fallacious and I mean, let's be honest, propaganda. It's full of deliberate misrepresentation. It's not a valid position, right? It's propaganda. It's Christian nationalists trying to make religion, trying to make superstition seem sciency.
It's Christian nationalists trying to make religion seem sciency. Vote for Dave. That's deep, Derek says. I never really heard it said that way. That's really eloquent. Theology in the biblical worldview is just Christian nationalism trying to make religion seem sciency. We're really cooking here, kids. Look at all of them. Look at how proud Dave is of that statement.
And they do a pretty good job of it, the best I've seen. But that's why I target them so strongly, because
why you have no purpose.
If I can skewer this to smithereens, then anything below it is laughable. You know.
Yeah, you have no reason to do whatever you're doing. You have no reason to exist, Dave.
The academic that you debate.
Yeah. Intelligent design is propaganda, but the guy who thinks men can be women is not propaganda. That's science, right? Science. We call that science, Dave. A man could have a vagina. Man can breastfeed. What are we talking about here? Labels like Christian nationalists given by doofuses like this guy just smacks of those poopy heads words. Yeah, it's this guy. I hope he gets, honestly, in front of more people, right? Where he can't run. I hope he gets on Piers Morgan. This guy.
On this whole abiogenesis thing that you famously have like really worked up. I can't imagine this guy doesn't think about you when he goes to bed at night.
He thinks
what's his name?
We goddamn day. James Tour.
James Tour.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you I emailed him to have a discussion on Jesus? Because he said, if you're a skeptic, he like sent this invite. So I was like, okay, I'm a skeptic. I have a big channel. Let's talk Jesus.
No
and
response.
He's like, he said, no, thank you.
What the hell is the point then?
Because I wanted a dialogue. He said, I will come
He's the one who.
What's your reason for existing, pushing a Jewish myth? No, theosis. It's practice. You got any other questions? How'd you determine something's a myth, by the way? Fruitcake? Huh, fruitcake?
Who said it?
I don't want to have a... Yeah.
He will only go...
Joe Rogan has him booked? No way, dude. No way.
On channels that are sympathetic to his bullshit. Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
And then he's like, nobody will come on much. It's like, dude,
That's what I'm saying. So what was the point of him making that announcement? If you're a skeptic, let's have a conversation, and then you reach out.
No, what he does is if you don't believe in the resurrection of Jesus, you can email him and he'll have a Zoom chat with you for an hour. And what I've done recently is people have started baiting him into it and sending me the recordings. So in my last video, I included a few clips from, because people want to know what goes on in these Jesus talks, these resurrection talks. And it's just a PowerPoint that he regurgitates every time. He doesn't listen to a word from the other person. Like he's doing it for his like God karma points. Like, look at what a great guy I am, converting the masses. I'm doing all this great proselytization, all this great evangelical work. Does not care. Like there's so many times where like the person is like trying to talk to James about like, well, this is what's going on in my life. And he's just like, cool, back to my thing. Like doesn't care. Total autopilot mode. And so somebody else just sent me one. I'm hoping people keep doing it to the point where he just starts being like, well, all of these are just are people sending it to Dave to make fun of me some more, so I can't do it anymore,
Oh my gosh. He declined mine. But I was going to ask you if you had to take a young earth creationist, Kent Hovind, or someone like him on a scale from 1 to 10, which is worse in your view? I know that you're both are pseudo, but in the sense that which is worse to you personally?
Which is more socially damaging or which is more unscientific?
I'll allow you to give your explanation for why you would.
Look at that. Look at that guy. Well, are you asking what's more socially damaging or... Wow, you're so pious, Dave. Are we talking about what's more socially damaging Or what? Or what are we talking about? I just need to know what level of truth you want from me right now.
Say either is worse in different ways.
I mean, obviously, like I said, young Earth creationism is way more unscientific than any of what the ID proponents are saying. They admit some science in order to deny other science, whereas Kent is just like all of it is dumb, Bible only.
Do I believe sharks were vegetarians? What does that even mean? You believe that. You're the one who believes that. Evolution would hold that.
But it's more socially damaging when you get these kind of really sleek propaganda campaigns, because it tricks people who were somewhat centrist, right? People who.
How did you know someone was tricked, you nonsenser? Dude, these two top guys, you guys suck, dude. Derek, MythVision, and Gnostic, you guys are such lazy thinkers. All you have to do is ask these people, how do you know someone's being tricked? How do you know someone's being tricked, Dave? What's the methodology you used? How did you determine that statement, Dave? Derek and Gnostic. Ugh. Look at them. We're skeptics. We ask the hard-hitting questions. I ask hard-hitting questions. And they just let this one go. No justification needed. Just claim it. Dave gets to claim it. These guys are being tricked. They're tricked.
Like, want to believe that they kind of accept science. They're like, well, no, even the scientist is saying that science is wrong. So science is right. It's not a raving preacher. I mean, James is a raving preacher, but he is also a scientist, so he can pretend that his script is coming from a place of science rather than him being a raving preacher whenever he talks about that topic. So that ends up being more damaging, which is why I focus.
How did you determine something's damaging, Dave?
On it quite a bit.
Oh, you focus on it because it's damaging. Oh, wow. How holy of you, Dave. How pious and good of you. So benevolent for Dave to focus on socially damaging stuff. And yet these guys go, how do you know? What's damaging? What part's damaging? They don't think to ask that. Look at this guy. Look at this top left guy. He's in a dream state. He's actually seeing beyond Dave right now. Loving you easy 'cause you're beautiful. Do.
So it's like it's closer to reality in a sense, but you're saying because of they're drawing more people who are really interested in reality and understanding the world we live in. They're drawing more people doing that than the flat earther or the young earther. So in a way, you kind of have, I hate to use the word low IQ, but I used to be a young earth creationist about 15 years ago. You know what I mean? I was a Bible thumper.
And your IQ increased or something? What happened? Did you have a mutation, Derek? Hey, Derek, did you have a mutation and now you're not? These guys are just so nonsensical, dude. That's why they can't exist in the presence of like someone like Jay or even me for like a couple minutes. You know who I want? I would love for Chase Haggard. Chase Howard would be the combination of Chase Haggard and Terrence Howard, which is even a better idea, to call in and just kind of play ping pong with these guys. They think like they said something like, wait, so you're saying like young earth creationists or intelligent design people are closer to reality, right? Closer to reality. That kind of statement that is. That's never been questioned. They just say it, right? Oh, just reality. They're mimbos.
And I was like, Bible is the truth, and I believe in my Bible, and that was it. That was my presupposition.
Yeah, I mean, you got fed that from birth, so it's going to be hard to. Yeah. It's a difficult process to shed your default worldview, right? But what I'm saying is that obviously the overwhelming majority of people that put any stock in James Stewart Discovery Institute or anything like that are Bible thumping evangelical. Like you go into the comment section, it's like, praise Jesus, James is it? There's nobody like, oh, interesting science. Like they don't care at all. But the way it's dressed up, it gets harder to penetrate. Like you can explain to almost anybody.
I bet you've run into some people that are dressed up that are hard to penetrate.
How Kent Hovind is an idiot, or Jim Bob, or any of these ridiculous people who are it's just complete dismissal of all science.
Really? Where in my conversation did I dismiss science?
Whereas like Stephen Meyer or somebody, he will be like, there was the the Cambrian explosion, and it happened in this time frame, and there, like, he will admit minutia in order to lie about certain key things in order to promote intelligent design. You know what I mean? It's more nebulous. It's harder to parse. You know what I mean? You have to be able to read the literature and show what he's referencing this paper. He's lying about this paper right here. It doesn't say that. Like, it's not like, oh, you literally don't know what DNA is. Like, they know what DNA is, and they explain it, kind of truthfully in terms of like what mutations are. I mean, they also lie about that. They lie about, they deny macro mutations and stuff like that. But
a macro mutation? They deny macro mutations. Yeah.
Right. Dave, you're the man.
Totally.
Look, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. Clip the shit out of that. I'm sure that's going on the channel. So
it could, yeah. Send that to me. I didn't anticipate.
Oh yeah, clip the part where you said what your brain was. I can't wait.
Getting into all that. Yeah, I would have replaced the batteries and gotten better audio. But
I'll send you the file.
Sounds good.
That sucks that Jim Bob's camera wasn't working either.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was he.
That was a great showdown, I think.
Go ahead. So we could be Googling stuff, and
I thought.
What? My camera froze perfectly so that I can Google stuff. Gosh, this guy needs a fucking... I mean, he really needs a... Look at that face. Look at the fucking face. Excuse my language. Look at that guy. My camera froze. I purposely froze my camera, which was a pain in the ass to deal with insofar as getting the footage I needed. I did it on purpose so I can Google stuff.
I know that
fucking guy, dude. Ah, give me a purge day.
Right. Dave, you're the man. Look, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. Clip the shit out of that. I'm sure that's going on the channel. So
it could, yeah. Send that to me. I didn't anticipate getting into all that. Yeah, I would have replaced the batteries and gotten better audio. But
I'll send you the file.
Sounds good.
That sucks that Jim Bob's camera wasn't working either.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was he.
That was a great showdown, I think.
Go ahead. So we could be Googling stuff, and
I thought that crossed my mind, but I think that would have been too perfect if he can figure out a way to pause himself.
Even then, though, I mean, let's be honest, he's never claimed. At a moment there, it sounded like he was acting like he's an expert. You know what I mean? He did say, like, no, and I'm like, hold on.
When did I act like an expert? These people actually suck. Hey, douchebag, when did I act like an expert?
I don't pretend like, and I've, actually interviewed PhDs in this arena and stuff and had conversations.
I mean, look, to be clear, nor am I. Like, I'm not an expert evolutionary biologist.
Or is he complimenting for being like, I'm not an expert? I don't know what he's talking about, dude.
I just understand, like, through halfway of an undergraduate education in evolutionary biology, or close to a full.
No, nothing in that conversation was like master's level, PhD level. This.
Shit, because very fundamental statements about evolution can be used to undermine the claims. These people think that if you ask simple questions like, okay, let's talk about something really basic like sexual and asexual reproduction. Let's talk about that. He thinks asking about that in a very fundamental way where you can't get it confused. He thinks that's like not knowing about it.
this was all very basic 101 kind of stuff.
Fairly basic. I mean, I have an enhanced ability to understand molecular biology because I studied chemistry. So when I read about that, like it breaks down to concepts that I understand. But I'm not an expert in. I'm not like a true, terminal degree holding expert in any of these fields. I just understand the basics and then some. Depending, chemistry, I know more than the basics, obviously, but evolutionary biology.
You'll sign into Discord if this guy can explain the scientific method without Googling it. You start with an observation in a natural world. You posit a hypothesis that's causing the phenomenon. You have access to the hypothesis as an independent variable. You introduce the independent variable into an experiment, and you repeat that, and you repeat that. Introduce it, remove it. Introduce it, remove it. Then you observe that, and you write down what you've seen, and you develop a scientific theory, John Watkins. And only after that process can you develop a scientific theory about phenomenons that you believe are caused by X. How about that, John Watkins? Huh? And why you guys stop deleting statements like that? I want to see those statements. I want my audience to see these statements. I want to bring them up on screen. Nothing in this statement crossed TOS or anything. He said, I'll sign into Discord if this guy can explain the scientific method without Googling it. It got deleted. Don't delete that. I want to see that. That's content for me. I want to see this guy saying that. I got this cool Bovatar 3 months ago and just go around using it. At least I'm not willfully ignorant like Dave, for sure. For sure.
I'm not, I'm far from an expert. I just know the basic stuff,
Gotcha. Anything?
Oh, he deleted himself? What a loser.
Neil, we can let Dave go, right?
I'm gonna peace out. All right, thanks, guys.
Forrest Valcoy asked me to email a call-in live show he's doing. No. The line is completely controlled. It's the same scenario, right? I offered Forrest Valkai a legitimate debate platform that's massive, okay? Not the line. No. Not the line. That's not it. That's not it.
Thank you, Dave. Have a good one, bro. All right. Look, Neil, we got to zoom.
He said my explanation was wrong. Really? How? Observation, hypothesis, what's causing the phenomenon, introduce the variable, do a scientific experiment, repeat the scientific experiment, and then you develop your scientific theory in the literature. How is it wrong?
I was going to say final assessment here, man, because I don't
got
have
a couple of super chats to go through.
Yeah. I got dinner cooking. I could smell it.
Lev Polyakov, thank you for the 20. Says Kurt Metzger mentioned on my show a theory linking Sibylle to Metis and tying that into Mithras having a mother dynamic, even Norman Bates style idea of wearing the mother's identity. Any source for this? I don't think there's a source for this. That Sibylle in late Roman antiquity, not the Phrygian Sibylle, is connected to Mithras because you find her in the Mithraean.
Boring. He says, you're not trying to prove proof through hypothesis as a variable. This was his comment. No way, dude. See what we're dealing with? See what we're dealing with? You want your hypothesis to be proven fast? What do you mean fast? What do you mean? There's no wants. Oh, false? You want your hypothesis to be capable of being proven false. You don't want anything. There's no desire in the scientific method, silly. There's no wants and desires. There's just the proper exacting of the method. Experimentation. It has to be able to be proven, disproven. That's why the only arbiter between two competing hypotheses are experiments. That's why evolution doesn't pass the scientific method. It can't be brought through the scientific method because you can't take two competing hypotheses and use experiment as the arbiter. So it's not a proper scientific theory. So you don't know what you're talking about. You don't introduce the variable? Really? You don't. So in the scientific method, you don't introduce the thing you think is causing it? Cool. Nice work. Nice work.
What would you say if I told you I was mentally retarded?
Unbelievable. You don't? You just think about it then, right? So if I want to know what's causing a certain disease in nature, to test it, I don't introduce the thing I'm thinking is causing the disease. I just think about it in my head. I just think about it in my head, and if I think hard enough, I can come up with a scenario.
I just get so mad. I just get so mad. I just get so mad.
It's amazing. It's just amazing. Anyway, did you guys watch any of the... I don't watch really football. Sometimes we're invited seasonally to a... These creationists still don't understand evolution for a good cause. Oh boy, Gutsick Gibbon at it again. Fast? Yeah, fast. He said false, to be fair. He corrected and said false, but that's funny. You said introduce the variable to know what's causing it. Yeah, you introduce the variable and you don't know. You introduce the variable to come up with a theory. You have to introduce the variable to test it. What are you talking about? How else would you know what's causing X? Can you tell me? Can you tell me any other way than introducing it to know whether X is causing Y? Can you tell me? You won't, because you can't. And you don't, because you won't, because you can't. That's what you said. Yeah, to know, colloquially, to know what's causing it inductively. It's an inductive principle. It's not even full knowledge. It's likelihood, dude. What are you talking about? You're a troll, or you were born from two cousins. I don't know what to tell you. Hindu has built-in evolution? Absolutely. That's right. Someone trolled the materialists, honestly. They're like, look, we're all racist and we think that there's a favored race. Could we develop a system that people would believe in that where people thought they were changing? Could we get them to believe they came from a thing that's not them? Could we get people to believe that they came from something they're not? Could we get them to believe that? Sure did. Why is he saying, yeah, well, I don't know. We're waiting on him, Hilo, we're trying to understand this man. It's based on falsifiability. How do you falsify something? If you don't introduce a variable to determine whether introducing that causes an event, a phenomenon, then how would you falsify it? Silly pants. You deserve to be locked in a cage. Not knowing a variable to explain a phenomenon? What? What are you talking about? We're talking about cause. What causes a phenomenon? You're broken. You're broken inside. You got no soul. Your spirit is decrepit and dark. You've coagulated ink for a soul. I came from my parents. I'm not my parents. What? No, dude. Your parents are the same category as you. We're talking about universal categories. The what you are, not who. I didn't say if you came, that you have to come from who you are. What you are. What you are is not who you are. You're all humans, but you're not all the same person, right? I mean, this is like, where do I get... Are people posting my stream on like retard Reddit accounts? Like the schools for the mentally retarded have access to the internet for like between like 4 and 8 p.m.? Is this what's happening? Why my channel? What logic justifies being orthodox but not RC? Oh, the innovations. V1 and V2. If you look at the true church, and both Orthodox and Roman Catholicism says their practice, their faith, their dogma goes back to the apostles, and they claim it's unchanged. You look at which one's unchanged. There. Their ducks alt accounts. That's funny. Now John's arguing with himself. Poor guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. King Solomon wrote about evolution. That's false. At least I don't believe in souls and virgin births. You believe in a bunch of things that aren't empirically verified. What are you talking about? Get in the Discord. I'll eat you alive. I'll forfeit dessert. Why are you clarifying your point and then insulting people for not getting it? It's just, shut up. Just stop whining, dude. Why don't you cry about it? I'm in a mood. Deal with it. Why do you do disrespectful? How about this? Your question's disrespectful. How about that? You ever think about that? I didn't explain the scientific method. I did. I listed the components of the scientific method. You didn't tell me how I'm wrong. Call in, dude. I'm hungry. Call in. Do it. I dare you. I dare you. Listen, don't take it personally, dude. Whoever you are. I thought you said something pretty dumb. Okay? I'm sorry. There. I'm confused. Does a host not agree with evolution? Evolution isn't a proposition. What are you talking about? You guys wonder why I get so annoyed. What does it mean to not agree with evolution? What's the proposition? Is the proposition that human beings as we know them today are the product of something completely dissimilar? Is that the proposition? I think that's fair. Is that what you guys believe in? Can I push back on the coming from something where not creation comes from God but is not? That would be a category distinction. We're talking about post-creation. Post-creation. Post-fall even. We're talking post-fall. But further, we're not critiquing Christianity left-handed. Thanks for the $5. But we're doing an internal critique of the materialist naturalist view, not the Christian view. We wouldn't even ask the same questions the same way, left-handed assassin. Thanks for the super chat. But yeah, we wouldn't even ask this. We're internally critiquing their propositions. Where in this world, the way the world is, do we ever see something that is in biology as organisms reproductively producing something even eventually that comes from not what it is? We don't see that. We'd never see that. What is gravity? Gravity's a set of effects that we observe. Nothing more. The way you reacted to my question tells me you're not worth having a real discussion with. Well, cool. Ban you forever. Bye-bye. So, okay, we get it. You're a weakling. You don't belong here in the first place. Goodbye. Get him out of here, mods. Beat it, Nathan. Staph infection. Get out of here. I'm in a mood. I don't have time for this weakling stuff. Beat it. Yeah, I am. You heard his feelings. I've heard his feelings. Super whiny. Yeah, where do these people come from? Where do these whiny people come from? Why are they here? This isn't a place for whiny people. When's the next Mormon debate? I think they all just collapsed, dude. I think honestly it's over. They've learned that, look, they're not going to, they never thrived from debate to begin with. They don't, it's for a Mormon to debate, you can't win. There's not a winning, it's not a winning game. The winning game is what they're doing. Reproduce, keep people from leaving the plantation, hammer home their incoherent theology and make it hard to leave. It's not debating. They have way more, Mormons have way more to lose by debating, all of them. Now, I'm fine if they keep doing it, but I'm just trying to be, I'm trying to be caring here. How long is this halftime show? It's probably satanic for sure. Creed? It's Creed? No, I'll get... Dude, you stream that, your stream gets taken now, probably. The Mormon presidents said no debates. I saw that on their website. You said the hypothesis is the variable? No. The hypothesis is what's causing the phenomenon. The variable is within the question of the hypothesis. What are you talking about? The hypothesis is, I think this is causing that. That's the hypothesis. It's a statement. I think this is causing that. The variable is the this. What is wrong with you? Where do these people come from? Show me how a hypothesis is a variable. I just told you. If I want to ask a question, what's causing the phenomenon? The hypothesis is the statement. I think this is causing the phenomenon. That's a hypothesis. The statement about the variable is a hypothesis. Someone help me. Someone pray for me. Pray for me. That's not what you said. The hypothesis is the variable. Yeah, I'm colloquially putting them together. You observe something, you form a hypothesis. I just clarified, and now you're pretending. Get him out of here. John Watkins, you're out of here too. Banned for life. Get out of here. You're done. Off you go. No, I didn't say see J. Warner Wallace Case for Christianity. No, I don't know. That sounds like a Calvinist name, honestly. J. Warner Wallace. Idol Killer says, my brain wasn't designed for truth tracking. Now listen to my assert my truth claims. Yep, that's Dave. And they'll never, I bet you when he plays back the clip, our exchange, he's going to purposefully remove that one for sure. Definitely. Rigid and stupid. Yeah, you don't have any arguments. You're just purposely not understanding what I'm saying. You're like, yeah, let me see if I could purposely not try to understand your clarifications of what you meant when you said it. Okay. Because I'm right. Yeah, because I'm right epistemology. I'm going to start taking that one. Those guys are broken, though. They're going to, Gnostic Informant is going to be, the challenge for someone like Jay, being that he's been doing it for so long, and he's developed a sort of lower tolerance, I would say. Like in real time, he'll just be like, I don't want to even, you're such a waste of my time, and I don't blame him. Gnostic Neil, his best approach, if he's going to debate Jay, is going to be trying to say the dumbest possible things you can say so that Jay is just done with it. Yeah, Justin, I read your half paper. Yep. I only read half of it. Yeah, they don't question that. Like, that's how you know they're in a cult. If I said that, dude, and that was like, oh, wow. And if you guys weren't like, that's not, if you're not being a parody, if you're not doing it ironically, that's not it. This is dumb. All right, this is dumb. I don't know if this, dude. I don't know if this is dumb. Oh, it's so stupid, dude. There it is, yeah. It's going to be bad. It's going to be carnage. It's going to be savage carnage. Banter box. Oh boy, 11 hours and Culture Cats, dude. That guy is just, what a downfall. He has another channel where he did Professor Dave humiliates young Earth creationists. What? So bad. I'm just so ready for warfare. Let's just solve this. Let's just solve these problems the old-fashioned way. Metal Stalfos, thank you so much for that tip. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. They all lie. Yeah, it's exhausting. They actually try to exhaust you with lies. Ankle biting. He. For those of you who don't realize, how many we got in the chat? How many we got in the chat? It's not working. Whatever. He was offered $1,000 to debate, to just jump on Discord, debate me on evolution real quick. $1,000. No, it's not your territory, but halftime show was an anti-white as they come. Yeah, I figured. I'll probably get to that during the week. I don't even pay attention. It's always something like that's their thing though. They like, yes, that's the narrative. Yes, they maintain it. Yes, it's funded. And they also know that it's rage bait. And then the rage bait puts more eyes on this thing that nobody really cares about anymore. And then it's like, okay, good, cool deal. Everyone wins. Rage bait. All right. Let's see. 6:42. I guess I'll go to 7. Maybe try to win a goal. Well, this one's got 7 minutes. I think we can do this one. 4 left. Yeah. We can do this one. 4 minutes, 7 minutes, 4 chats. Look, we have a debate going in the chat right now in the chat. 4.4 million watching to Puss a halftime show on YouTube. Oh, they did their own halftime show, right? That's kind of genius, honestly. Is it just like the Star of David everywhere? They're like, we have fireworks, but we're going to make sure the fireworks are white and blue with blue stars everywhere.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Thank you so much for that. Brings me to 7 out of 10 of this goal. I got 6 more. Where is it? Where's Tapussa? Who do they have? That's going to be awful. That's something I'll watch, though, just because it's like all-American halftime. I do like this idea, though, of competing worlds. Competing worlds. Did Erica Kirk come flying down through some sort of like rigged thing with wings? She had to have. Like a sparkler backpack. I bet they pitched it. They're like, we're going to have Kid Rock open. And they're right before the explosion, we're going to have Erica Kirk on a harness with angel wings. Dropping white chocolate Ferrero Rochers on all the Americans. I know. I want people to wake up and stop watching sports and instead play it on Xbox. You know, I'm tired of the real thing. For real. For real. I don't know why my voice thing... Oh, I have to have it open. That's why. That's why it doesn't work. Here, let me try it again. They should have fighting. That's what they should have. Straight up fighting. How many we got in the chat? There we go. Savage memes. There we go. Nice. Grab a copy. Speaking of entertainment, grab yourself a copy. Savage memes at madebyjimbob.com. If you like commentary, if you like humor, if you like comics that depict the insanity of the world we live in, you'll love Savage memes. It's rigged anyway. That's what the Gematria people are saying. That's who I really want to watch. I want to watch Zach Hubbard. That's what I'm about. Zach Hubbard, halftime. He has to be doing something. Oh, Super Bowl 60 starts on Patreon. Okay, he's doing it on Patreon. Well, that's unfortunate. I would have loved to seen that. One more chat, yo. 9 out of 10. Don't leave me hanging. I like turtles. I like turtles. All right. What else we got here? Boring. Boring. Thank you so much for that, for the grift. Thank you so much for that. Met my goal. I want to see a live stream of Gematria people betting on stuff. I like trains. I wish people could see Dave's crash out on me yesterday. Oh, in the comments, or is it in the comments? I'll look at it if it's documented in the comments. The glowing thing. Yeah, I'm leveling up my production. I might make a thing where you guys could pay to put me in color. Probably do that. Where you guys can pay. You have to pay me to see me in color. This guy's the best. This guy is like if who's that one dude? Gregory Hines? No, not Gregory Hines. He was a tap dancer. Richard Pryor. This is like Richard Pryor became a political sort of pundit. He's got Richard Pryor energy, aside from straight AIDS and all the stuff that he did. This guy's going to be huge. Already my prediction. I looked at his channel just a couple weeks ago. Andre Williams, he's going to be harpooned by leftist blacks. Andre Williams is. His takes are so fierce. He's basically has the same stance as who's my buddy? Chad O. Jackson. But Chad is very orderly. He's very Christian. He doesn't curse. He smokes a pipe. He speaks properly. Chad Jackson's more white than I am. This guy is like, dude, he's railing against black culture.
I confuse the fuck out of people with my... People don't know what age I am. I see motherfuckers like, you 40, you 50. No, motherfucker, I'm 25. I just have a very old soul. I have a very old style. I operate on a certain level that's very... just different from most people. The thing is, man, you've got to stand out. That's the thing. My guys who are 20, 19...
See, people are watching Nick Fuentes, and I don't know this guy. Honestly, when you press on him, he's probably not religious. I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he is, but he's not Orthodox. I could know that much. But you kind of want to cheer for him because he's got that aggressive comedic presence quality. And he's better. He's a better person to prop up than Nick Fuentes. He is. He's my neutral, this guy. But he's going to be big. He's going to be a big deal. Andre Williams. He's going to be really big. Now, let's see where he takes it. So, what is today? 47,000 subs. Andre Williams. What is it? February? Were you in February? I'm going to say May. I'm going to say May, he'll be well into 150K, maybe more. Like, he's going to hit something viral. Like, so this guy, one of his rants are going to go viral. It's going to be like a rage bait thing. It's going to upset people. You know, Will Smith is going to react to it or something like this. That's my prediction. He's got that thing.
The world, people out there, what I want them to see, what's important to me. So carry yourself with a certain style. Carry yourself with give a damn about where you're going. Don't follow anybody. Don't follow trends. Get out of wearing the comfort.
That's the real question.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic.
That's the real question. Cool. That's funny and true. I don't think he'll do it though. I don't think so. I hope not. I think people like him, this guy, he might be real enough to be like, no, I'm not going to, I know how this works. You come in with $1 million. You think because I'm black, I'll trade my mouth and my voice for a Ferrari or something that's on hydraulics. You think I'm going to fall for that? No, he's not. No. I don't think so anyway. But he is 25. He doesn't seem like someone who's bothered by things that we were all bothered by at 25, though. That's for sure.
Comfortable clothes, dress and carry yourself.
They already have Candice
So, like you're demanding respect, like you have something.
Yeah, that dude looks like his jacket. It looks like he's going to get into an F-18 from the 1980s.
Going on, like you're going somewhere. Learn how to command a room and learn how to sit back and observe things that are going on.
He's going to be big.
Get in. No.
He'll be on, you know what's going to happen with him? Here, I'll get more specific with my prediction. This guy's going to be on Sam Hyde. This one. That guy's going to be on Sam Hyde.
Don't do this. Get in. I gotta try to fit in with people. You don't need to, as men. We don't need to fit in anywhere. We add when we get into groups. When we fall into these circles, we're not trying to fit in. We're trying to add to the collective. We're adding. That's a very tribal thing. It's a very primal point.
And that's how he's going to get a bagel to start writing for him, though. So it's kind of like,
a way of doing things.
Dude looks like he's been 40 since he was 7.
We're sitting back and we're cavemen. I don't want you to try to fit in with the clan and the club. We're going to club you to death. As men, we do that. I want you to add something of value. And black men, you've got to do this more so.
Maybe he'll be on whatever, too. In fact, I'll help him right now. If I can. If I have any weight at all. Ready? I'll shoot his stuff. Well, he does violate TOS, though, so that might be a problem. Something like that. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. You know what? I'm not going to influence any of it. I don't want to. I'm just going to see where it goes.
So than any other white man or anyone else in the comments, the white community has their own problems. White men have their own issues.
He's not 25. He's 51.
Black men, we've got 10 times worse issues, worse problems.
You guys have it bad. Yeah, stuff happened, but it happened to Japanese people, happened to white people if you go back far enough. He knows this. It'll be hard to link this guy up with Chad Jackson. Chad Jackson will have to develop his own bleep. That's another thing. Chad Jackson, he's prime for someone like Steven Crowder at this point. I mean, he's almost behind. He should be up there. Because the topic of the lie of Martin Luther King Jr., it's not relevant to what's happening now, like all this stuff like Epstein and geopolitics and Israel a little bit. But for the most part, but if you're going to take a more zoomed in approach on just like black American experience, you have to look at the civil rights. You have to look at Martin Luther King. And Chad Jackson is their entryway to looking at that. And it's already getting pushback. You already got Killer Mike. This was funny little exchange. Killer Mike puts him on blast. And then I think they're going to set up, if they didn't do it already, a conversation. And Chad could definitely hold his ground against Killer Mike. But a funny little thing that Killer Mike used to follow my account on Instagram. He used to interact with it quite a lot, and we'd actually direct message quite a bit back and forth. And I sent him to his home some Savage Memes books, and included in that, I was going through that phase of Thomas Sowell. And so I sent Killer Mike a Thomas Sowell book, Black Rednecks and White Liberals. And he read it, and it started influencing what he was saying. Now, unfortunately, he's still a Bernie Sanders type simp guy. But he's open to hearing ideas. That's what I got from Killer Mike. And Chad Jackson having the exposure that he needs, will, I think, truly influence black culture. And they'll understand. I think if they accept it, he could actually do a really positive number on the next generations of black Americans, Chad Jackson. So.
Problems.
Google Shill, who I don't know, should we trust Google Shill? I used to be a mod for who? This guy? Who?
For ourselves. That we've developed and that we've inherited.
Yeah, from Run the Jewels. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Everybody else have their problems.
He even gave me a shout out. He didn't say my name right. He gave me a shout out during the interview. He didn't say it. He said Savage Comics or something. do you say? Savage. He says savage cartoons or something.
Problems they got to fix.
Like, damn. Now I got to go back and AI it. Oh yeah, dude. Totally.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Fine. But with black people, we've got fucking mad.
Yeah, right now it is. Yeah. That's what it is now, Alchemist. Yep. Unfortunately.
Massive issues that we've got to fix.
I mean, there was a time where black culture was just black-white culture. That's when they had it good. Yeah, like, what's the alternative? You know, oh, you come to the States under these conditions, you break free of the conditions, you adopt to the culture that you've been taken to, and you start, you know, you wear your suits and you got your suspenders and you have top hats and you try to speak as best as you can, and you start your, you know, businesses, and you live in your black neighborhoods, and you have your churches, and you have your family, and, you know, nobody's leaving. Daddy's not leaving. Daddy's home. And you have it all together, right? And then this commie stuff comes in and go, well, you guys should, you know, we should shove you guys into the other thing. And they're like, yeah, right? I bet some of them were like, no, dude, why? What are you doing? Speaking of Thomas Sowell, some of the stats leading up to the civil rights movement, the moment of liberation for blacks from what we call slavery in the more modern sense, their reading comprehension and abilities to read and write skyrocketed. They actually increased quite fast until the civil rights movement. Until welfarism took over. That makes sense, right? Is that a surprise? Nope. But it's kind of weird, like, you know, you adopt into the culture you're in, and you wear the pants, as we say. And you talk, and you try to talk like this, and you try to, you know, you still have your black slang, you know. You still sound black somehow. And but you participate in a culture that is ultimately European. And it does you well. And then suddenly MLK and all of his writers come along and convince people otherwise. And then it leads to what? What is their alternative? Oh, you're white. You're talking to white. Oh, you graduated? Stop being white. Only white people graduate. Oh, you want to dress all nice? Huh? Your family's together? Oh, your family's together? That's really white of you, okay? And then what happens? What's the alternative? Seriously. Well, the alternative is like baggy pants and all this stuff. That's like a rejection. That's not even a positive like culture creation. That's like not that. Oh, they wear their pants up. I'm wear my pants down. They brush their teeth. I won't brush my teeth. They speak properly. I will mumble. And it's like, what's the alternative if it's not the opposition in protest to white, let's face it, largely white European culture, insofar as aesthetics, how you talk, how you do things, how you dance, how you move around, how you whatever, all of it, right? The alternative, if it's not oppositional to that, would be origin, right? You become Zulu warriors, and you know they don't want that, so they're like caught in between, and it doesn't have to be that way. Just wear the pants; it's fine. Said Andrew Wilson. Oh, Professor Dave, I believe, will debate you on evolution of the crucible. That would be amazing. I would take that offer. Sick. I mean, I doubt he will, but I would. Miracles happen. That would be excellence. Thoughts on Frank Zan? I might know the face. I don't recognize that name, though. What is that? Anyway, this guy is going to be a big deal. That's all I have to say. He's going to, my prediction, he's going to be a big deal. And like people who get like if they don't have a rooting, let's be biased here. If he's not orthodox, he'll run out of space, basically. Because you get funneled, right? You get funneled into a place if you don't have that as a foundation. But it'll be fun to watch because I think, you know, he's got something. He's a disruptor. This guy's a disruptor. He's going to be big.
You know, you're gonna be fucking mad. So I don't want that for people. I want people to really get what they want.
Yeah, I said this before the first time I brought him up, actually, is that in the end, he'll probably root into like a sort of libertarian, go get yours, be awesome, which is good for men. Be awesome. Use your gifts, share your gifts to the world, be successful. Be happy other people are successful. This kind of thing. It's generally good. But it has its limits. But maybe he's not ready for those. He's 25. But I hope he can be guided. That's all. You know? This is Uncle Jim Bob talking. I hope someone can come in and sort of, as he becomes, I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think he'll have a kind of swooping success trajectory. This dude here, Andre Williams. I believe so. You forgot who Professor Dave is. I know, it's like we're keeping him, in a sense, we're keeping him relevant. But, man, he deserves a beatdown. Debate-wise. Actually, I don't know about that. He does, but I don't think it'll work. I think people like Dave, they're such leftist douchebags. I could see Andrew reaching out to Dave and be like, hey, you want to do this? And him being like, I will not bring any more light to your platform. I know who you are. I know who the Crucible is. I will not be doing that. Dude, half of these people won't even debate a modern day debate. Most of them. Dude, Forrest Valkai and these people. Who's the guy who looks like The Undertaker? He won't debate on modern day debate because of how the Dillahunty thing went down. This is like how many years now? 2 years? Unbelievable, these people. So weak. I will not legitimize you. I will not legitimize that platform. I will not platform you. No. His arrogance will convince him, and it'll happen. Maybe. Well, we'll see. Fucking Dave, what a douchebag. The evolution teacher reply? I don't think so. He didn't tag me, so he's probably thinking about it. But that was a great conversation. I really like that guy. Colossus. Shout out to Colossus. I've had 2 or 3 conversations with him, and we even got, not heated, but it got contentious over some topic, evolution-wise, and we could just like work through it. Like it's a normal thing. But all the rest of them, they're so indignant that they like Gnostic Neil. Dude, you were such a douche on that panel. You didn't need to come in and do well poisoning and do all of this like gatekeeping, dude. Just let me talk to the Dave guy. You guys sit and enjoy the conversation. But Gnostic Neil coming in. Shut up, Neil. Shut up, Neil. That's who Neil is. Whoever the character is in your life, in school, with your friend group, where you go, shut up, Neil. That's exactly who Neil is. Wouldn't the Crucible be... relevance-wise, yes. Size-wise, no. But relevance, engagement-wise, absolutely. It would be Crucible. It would be him, platforming Dave, not the other way. Now, Dave has like 7 million, but then again, it's like, you look at the stats and it's hard to tell what's real or not at that point, where people purchase all his stuff. And he admitted that he needs to do Attack on Jay Dyer videos to get his, monetary system up. Shut up, Neil. Yeah, he was like low IQ guy. Yeah. Yeah, he's the guy on the, on the rapping tour who's just like, yeah. You're like, do you have anything to offer? Yeah. Ratface Dave doesn't, well, he's going to be called into it. And it's like, I think the other chatter was right. I think his ego to be seen as someone who runs from a debate is, that might haunt him, honestly. It doesn't haunt all these people, but it might haunt him. Shut up, Neil. Whatever, Neil. Anyway. Is Jay going still epic? Is Jay going epic hard? Well, let's take a look-see. What is it? 7 o'clock. I think it might be about time. Well, let's do this. Let's do a last run for the finish line, huh? Here, last 10. Let's do the last 10. He'll say you don't have enough followers. Maybe. He might say that. Which, is another way, translation saying, the risk of losing to such a little pipsqueak like Jim Bob is too high. Because guess what? I have way less to lose. These people, the bigger channels, the bigger the channel, the more you have to lose when you debate smaller channels or smaller people or nobody. You debate a nobody. Jay's still going? Okay. Well, we know where to go, perhaps, after you guys send me your money. So, let's do a quick half hour. Already got one in the bag from Suzanne. Thank you, Suzanne. Yeah, Andrew always debates the lower, wherever it's available. Because Andrew has a maniacal, insatiable taste for blood. He'll be like, well, this person has 600 followers, but, like I always say, you never know what their blood tastes like. You never know. You don't want to miss out. You just want to see bloodshed. Just want to see the look on their face. Shut up, Neil. I said, fuck that. I'm going to do it anyway. In a perfect world, you still have to pay your taxes. That's right. Because before taxes, there was just labor. You had to do the thing. I mean, kids have taxes, if you think about it. Kids do chores. That's their taxes. Don't get it wrong. You want to keep this house afloat? Working? Doing its thing? You want to be an integral part of this house? Let's do it. Put down that stupid toy. Where did you even get that from? Why does it make so much noise? Which one of your uncles or aunts hates us? What is that sound? Because I'm right. Shut up, Neil. At least Neil takes a real punch to the face, though. That's what I will give Neil that. He doesn't hold a grudge. You just, you punch him around and you're in the DMs like, hey, how's it going, dude? What's going on? What do you got up? What's going on with you? Can you provide evidence for the afterlife? No, wouldn't be an evidential claim, Mobius. But I'm glad you're thinking about it. Are you watching sports ball? I can't get it. I can't do it. I can't get myself to do it. It's crazy because I grew up athletic. I grew up loving sports. Then I realized like playing sports and watching sports, totally different. I don't even know what to do, honestly. I go to someone's house that's filled, they're watching a game and, there's the dudes. But I feel like it's opposite. They're like, who's this gay guy hanging closer to the kitchen, hanging out and talking about stuff that's important while we're in the living room huddled up. They're like, he's questionable. And I'm like, who are these gay guys in the living room watching a bunch of black people chase each other in tights? Huh? There's a guy dressed up like a zebra. What is it? Oh, I'm the gay one? I'm the one who's in the kitchen having a beer or a drink, just wanting to shoot the shit and talk about things that are not that? Get out of here. Look what you're doing. Look what you're watching. Blur it out. Blur some of it out. See what happens. See how you feel after you blur some of the football game out. Sports ball. But then I lose, it's fine. I get away with it because it's like, oh, he's the artsy guy. He's thinking about some other deep question. You can do both. No, you can't. Not generally. I mean, I know it's possible, but it's like if you take just demographics, the men who sort of just want to shut down and watch football, you're not going to really be getting into deeper stuff with them. You know what I mean? And there's not much I can offer. They scream, they shout, they cheers, they say some things, they say some numbers, and they look at me. They all turn at me, and I have my little IPA. I'm already out of the group for that reason. And I'm like, do you guys want hummus? Can I get you guys some chips? Dang people who enjoy. It's not that they enjoy it. No, that's not the critique. That's not it. That's not it. Don't do that. I'll ban you. Bunch of face painters. It's at least one. It is an opportunity to do blackface, though. That's probably why they don't have brown teams. You imagine a really funny skit where a football or a basketball team finally had a brown uniform? How could you possibly police that? Get these 50,000 people out of the stadium. I'm disgusted. Why? Headlines. 50,000 people in blackface get fined. Thank you so much, Monkey Rilla. I play music too, totally relate. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, we're the outcasts. We're like, art student. But that's funny is I was like a jock in high school, though. That's what's so unassuming about me. I was a super jock. Why are you wearing shoe polish? That's funny. The great pig snake arrives. There he is. I mean, soon some of you people in the chat will get your own animation going. Late Tax, thank you so much. Speaking of late, 3 more to go. Can Mobius call in about what? It depends on the topic. Ending a stream on a down note that's deep, dense philosophy where everyone wants to just end it is not the best idea. It's not great. It's not great for the show. That's true. Yeah. No, it's fine. Dude, I watch sports. I'll watch sports. I play video game sports. I'll play sports. I like sports. It's just something about the culture that developed that I'm like, I don't know about this. How old is the Earth? I don't know. I kind of go with like 10,322 years, pretty much. That's what I run with. What about you? What do you run with? What do you got? How old is the Earth card do you have in your wallet? What you got? I hold this position that if the Earth wasn't created distinctly, it doesn't have an age. I mean, think about it. The alternative is the Earth as an object developed from the accumulation of random, basically unrelated particular dust matter. And then if that's the process, you have to arbitrarily define when it, quote, became itself. And you're like, what is that? So you have a Soreite's Earth. You have a Soreite's paradox Earth. Just like how you lefties look at human beings. You have an arbitrary position of when a human being becomes a human being, thus being valuable. That's why you guys cut each other's babies out of your wombs, you psychopaths. You sick, sick people. You know, the way you look at human beings makes me want to not look at you like a human being. And that's the devil's trick. You satanic clusters of beef. Sorry. Lord forgive me. They don't call the owners of the football team as owners anymore because it... See, that takes the fun out of it, right? That's like, if you want to get a really excited owner in there, keep the name owner. JL's on Skeptic Haven. That guy got wrecked so bad. Andrew didn't even say anything. He just asked him a question. He just lost it. That guy sucks. I don't even want to listen to him. In fact, you know, I wish Breakfast Taco's the best and all, but it's like, your culture sucks so bad. The culture in your chat sucks so bad that me going there or bringing people there for any reason at all, it's like, I get nothing out of it. My chat gets nothing out of it. You guys get a temporary infusion of sane people who draw up really interesting conversations and the panels become interesting. But you guys on your own, you do nothing. I'm sick of it. I just turned in, but I must say, Bad Bunny made the Super Bowl gay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, doesn't that the guy... Yeah, he's sick. Hope he doesn't mess with me and try to run for a position of office. Boxing is better. Boxing's better. Fighting's fun. Fun to watch. But even UFC crosses this weird line where you're like, what am I watching? Yeah, get him. Roll on him. Roll on him. Pin him down. Straddle his face. Straddle his face. Press into him. Press into his back. Hug him from behind. Press into him. It's like the coaches are saying. The coaches are, that's a funny skit. Like there's a UFC fight and the people who are the managers in the corner, everything they say just sounds gay and they can't help it. And they just like keep looking at themselves and they're disgusted, but they keep saying it because they're coaching, right? They can't stop. Yeah. Get him down. Teach him a lesson. You have to count years from the moment the year started. It takes approximate amount of time because expansion and stuff. Yeah, it's just endless. Well, it's like, in the end, it's like, from their view, matter is eternal. From their view, it's completely eternal. So it's like, how old is the Earth? Eternal is the right answer from your view. What are you talking about? 40 billion years. What are you saying? Have you ever seen the game Half Sword? I'll check it out. UFC, I say, was. Now, can all of those guys kick my ass? Yes. In that sense, it's manly still. But the aesthetic, the culture, like the activity of fighting can be masculine and the culture that you're in could be super gay. And that's the real inversion, isn't it? Isn't that how you really subvert something? You keep a masculine aspect, so you're still kind of like, oh yeah, that. But then you're like, but presented with this stuff. And you're like, yeah. Please? Someone did a UFC with censor. Yeah. I saw it too. It was very effective in making you be like, oh. I think it used to be manly. Like, yeah, I agree with Luke. I think it used to be manly. And it's still manly to fight. It really is. To get punched in the face and punch other guys in the face is super masculine. But it's the packaging. The culture. So you know what I'm fascinated? I think it's probably Joe Rogan, the whole culture there is like, I was trying to track, why is it that like UFC fighters are on the same sort of tracking culturally as truther stuff, like deep-rooted truther stuff, name-ems, Twin Towers, whatever, you name it. Do you think it's because it's inextricably tied to Joe Rogan? That to me, that's the best explanation, without like going into super, psychologizing stuff that I can't know. But I do wonder that. It's like, it's a thing that happens. It's like, oh, the truthers that are sort of come around to the podcast world, and they're all like people who got hit in the head a lot for like 20 years. Like, maybe that's the psyop. It's like, oh, we were truthering so hard. We were uncovering all these lies. And then the whole culture got co-opted by a bunch of people who have brain injuries. Can we not do that? Oy vey. Who's Banterbox? That's Culture Cats again. That's the same dude. He's obsessed. God bless you. Thank you for that. Thank you for so much. Back in the day, remember? I was probably like, what age were you guys? I was like, about 16? When like OG UFC started, they had no rules. People were probably dying. But they weren't prepared. Like, people were just getting elbowed in the side of the head and breaking bones like crazy. That's when it was fun. That's when I was like, oh, snap. Anyway. 15? Yeah, about right. Yes, I do. I have 3 hand and currently 1 AR. Looking for a shotgun, but I don't know. My town's pretty safe. I think I'm, like, unless a war broke out, I'm pretty good for now. Yeah, there was no weight class, right? There was no weight class. It's true. It was great. They should have started the thing early by throwing women in there just to get it out of the way. Be like, hey, in the future, guys, if you guys were thinking about doing this, let's sort this out right now. Get some women in this. Look at the outcome. Okay? Justin Henley, same. Yeah. What do I have? The AR is pretty cool. What is it? A Shark something tactical? Shark West? Wait. Shark Coast. Shark Coast Tactical. It's quite nice. It's like just above medium, middle of the road value. You know, a little more expensive than your go-to easy peasy one or something like that. I like it a lot. Anyway, I'm winding down. I'm going to find you guys a place. I'm going to find you all a nice place to go to, okay? Yeah, it's nice. It comes with a laser and a flashlight. You know, I had to Colorado, probably, maybe not, maybe it won't pass, but because we have such actively homosexual governance, they're going to make it illegal to get any more. So I'm like, oh, do I just buy them up? I get like 4 of them? Is that what I do? I get 4 of these things? What is it? Next August is supposed to be legally? We'll see what happens, though. Sometimes these things don't go, but Jay, I think so. He might be. Let me check who's out there. Who do we got out here in the world? Who's out in the world? Got Nick. Jay, yeah, he still is. Oh, so is Deconstruction Zone. Ooh, super. Constitutional? It doesn't matter. I mean, that's kind of part of our argument, though, isn't it? A lot of our argumentation is, well, the Constitution, some of it, we're like, wrong move. Let's go back. Let's change that. And so, but the problem is when the left brings something up that changes the Constitution, we become constitutional dogmatists, and then it's kind of counterintuitive. So we're like, wait, we think that some things ought be changed in the Constitution, but the left wants to change a different thing that we don't agree with changing. But Constitution could just be, they can just, the states. It's constitutional because the states can decide it. It's like becomes arbitrary. You be on tomorrow? Yeah, I'll be on tomorrow. Every day I work this corner of the city. I work this street. I got my shoulders out. Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah. It's not like a bad idea. It's like the Second Amendment as a thing isn't a bad idea. It's just that if you want to be like, well, we really messed up with the voting thing. Can we change it? And they're like, well, then if you change that, we can change the Second Amendment then. then how about that? And I'm just like, okay, fine, let's have a war. Forget all this. Let's just see who wins already. Come on. Where do I go to listen? Oh, you could go to Gnostic Informant. The whole thing's there. I'm actually going to be presenting a review of it in a probably not even a live stream way. I might do it because it's fun, but live stream, I'm not complaining. But if you do it that way, super chats come in and sort of disrupt the pacing. So I might do a properly shot, edited video of me going, one of those like, you know, hi, I recently had a debate. Hi. So many of you know, I recently had it. So there I was, and so I was sent a link for a panel where, lo and behold, it was Professor Dave from Dave Explains on this panel. And he was talking about evolution, and I decided to jump on, and here's how it went. So there I was. Do I fancy Kill Tony? Not really. I kind of liked the format of it as an idea, but I try to watch some of it, and the comedy has gotten so degenerate and gross for no reason. And there's only so many people who are deformed and retarded that I could watch try to do comedy and us all pretend that we can understand what they're saying and it's funny. Okay? There, I said it. Okay? It's like, okay, Hinchcliffe, we get it. You think people without arms deserve to try comedy. Fine. But don't pretend I'm going to be laughing at their jokes. I'll laugh. Anyway. I think that's it for me. I think I've gone too far. Well said. That's what it is, isn't it? It's decadent. There's no struggle. You're kind of propped up there. You won a ticket. It's freaking Willy Wonka for comedy. I'm sorry, Kill Tony. You killed comedy. Comedy is brutal. You don't get the golden ticket. You don't get Willy Wonka. That's not how it works. And you can't fake bomb. That's the other part. It's like, Kill Tony's a fake bomb. You bomb, sure you bomb, but it means you win. You won bomb. It's not the same. When you don't have Tony to do his little armchair psychology therapy session afterwards, what are you left with? You're left with maybe a free beer you got for doing 5 minutes at the dive bar. You have the awkward experience of walking off the stage with the other comedians who may have done better or worse, and you have to then face them, and they know you did bad, and you know you did bad. And you try to make your way through even the where the civilians are. And they know, they're looking at you. They're not going to say good job. They're not going to say bad job, but the silence says it all. And then you have to sign up again after that. You have to somehow get yourself to sign up again, even though everything in your existence tells you not to. That's what comedy was. Now it's like, Vip, you picked your number. Tell us about your life. Tell us about your life. Tell us something interesting about you. No one cares about that. They want you to get on the stage, kill it, and then be a mystery. That's what they want. They want you to kill it for 5-10 minutes. You leave, and they're like, "That who was that? What was that? That guy's weird. I like him." I mean, just sitting there unraveling your personal background story after you do comedy. Pfft. Imagine doing that with musicians. Tell us about you. Tell us about everything you do. Tell us something interesting. Oh, really? And now it's getting really gross. It's like Kill Tony, the dude. Tony Hinchcliffe's starting to ask like personal questions about the person, like sexual questions. They're like, he's like, where do you like to finish? It's like, what is wrong with you people? All right. Now I think I've really gone too far. All right. Well, good luck over there, you guys. Congratulations on avoiding the Super Bowl and not doing rage bait reactions to its demonic contents. Nice work. So, that's it for me. God bless you. Shout out to everyone who made it to Divine Liturgy. If you didn't this week, make a point to get in there next week. Got a lot of people. Every week, there's someone new at my parish who's like, yeah, and then I decided. I like that trend. All right. That's it. Love you.